This time on Roadkill, it's a winter wonderland with a roots blower! Yeah!
We're taking T-Bizzle where she's never been before.
Go, baby, go!
Yeah!
Well, we may be dumb, but at least we're adventurous. Your challenge, if you should choose to accept it, is to drive that car in the dead of winter from here in Rapid City, South Dakota, all the way to like Boondocks, Minnesota, where we've got a project vehicle sitting there that we already bought sight unseen that is going to be a big surprise to you and probably to us once we get there.
I gotta admit, all I heard was car, blah, blah, donuts in the parking lot.
Oh, there is that. This is a choice place. I've never seen this pile before. This is cool.
Allow me to tell you all about T-Bizzle. This is either an 85 or 86 T-Bird, I'm not sure which. I bought it for an episode of Faster with Finnegan. That's a 302 Ford. It's completely stock, right down to the valve springs. We did nothing except put a blower and Holley carbs on top of this thing. It's a 671 blower shop unit. It's Teflon stripped. It has all the tricks. It makes way too much boost for this stock engine that only wants to rev to 4,000 RPM. The transmission, 4-speed automatic, also stock. The rear diff, totally stock, except we welded up the spider gears, and this is a 4-lug car. This is all the stuff you shouldn't do to your stock T-Bird, and we did it anyway, and picked up 4 seconds at an 8-mile drag strip versus its stock time. And more importantly, we whooped Cletus McFarland's butt with T-Bizzle.
This is great for me because it's the first time we've ever done a Faster with Finnegan crossover car onto the Roadkill show. And what that means is that he has completely pre-molested this thing along with Newbern and Cotton. I had nothing to do with it, so let's add up the benefits. I take no blame. I get to experience it for the very first time, and hopefully I don't have to wrench on it in winter.
And now we're gonna find out, how good does it work in the snow?
You know, we've had a lot of winter adventures in our day. We've driven to Alaska in the Ranchero.
We drove that wagon with no windows to,
Yeah, the Buick wagon.
where'd we go? Kansas City? Wichita.
In the rain.
Which is in Kansas, unlike Kansas City.
That was the origin of Homeless Dave.
That's right.
That's when I first appeared wearing my blanket. By the way, that's gonna degenerate as this trip goes on. Right now, it's like a balmy 20 degrees. It's not that cold.
I fixed it.
It's gonna get worse. Ooh, runs good. I didn't think it would start.
He's been tuned for the altitude.
That's impressive. Wipers work. All right, we are good to donut. I'm so happy nothing can be my fault. Oh, security, just in time. Oh, wow. It's already missing.
Yeah, it's misfiring.
Oh, it does great donuts. The engine might be falling out. Oh, this thing runs terrible.
It does. Well, when I put it together, I said to the guys, it's only got to last 3 passes. I really didn't think, you know, we were going cross country.
But you chose this for cross country.
I got a short memory.
Wow. I feel kind of self-conscious about the misfire.
All right, let's go. I feel like the car's tested, it's ready.
Sure.
We'll just idle all the way to Mount Rushmore.
Welded rear end, ice, 6 cylinders, 3-gallon gas tank. Good to go.
That runs good now.
Huh. Maybe it needs to warm up. See, it wants to like run fine now.
Yeah.
They're shifted.
There we go.
Okay, Mount Rushmore,
Let's do this.
20 miles away. What are the odds we make it? So it's 3 gallons, but it's probably getting no better than 7, so that might be 21 miles. What if it gets us all the way there?
That would be pretty amazing.
Yeah. Let's say it's making 300 horsepower at the crank right now. Well, if the blower is sucking 130 50 horsepower, then you're right at the margin of where the 302 block breaks in half.
Yeah. Even
though you're only making 300 crank. It's perfect. No, the Thunderbird was the high-end personal luxury car in its day.
Pinnacle of engineering back then.
Now, 18 miles, and we're there. Well, there it is. Our first running out of gas with our 3-gallon fuel cell. At this point, let's see, we've gone about 10 miles on 3 gallons. I expected it was gonna run out of gas in like 2 or 3 miles. This is season 9 of Roadkill. I would say for the last 5 seasons, Finnegan's been saying, let's do a burnout in front of Mount Rushmore. So that's our plan. And I just got the world's most annoying Chinese fuel cell cap on. Ready to go. All right, you are gassed. I think 3 gallons will get us there.
All right.
It shifted.
Third gear Bernie's in the snow.
Oh, we're so dead. Yeah, we're just fine. All right, let's go attack some icy, windy mountain roads.
All right.
You know, the Native Americans are like super not happy that we defaced their mountain with all the presidential faces and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, look at the tunnels. The tunnel's cool.
Yeah.
There's a city here and none of it's open.
Yeah. It's awesome. And I love it. Mount Rushmore National Memorial. All right, we're getting close now.
So can you name the presidents that are on there?
No.
So
Lincoln?
Washington, Lincoln, Roosevelt, and Thomas Jefferson.
Oh, dude, there it is. There it is.
Yep, there you go.
Look at that. We made it to Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
No, no, no. This is my moment. No, car.
Live the dream, Finnegan.
Yes, 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 yes,
God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you, America.
Goals achieved.
Oh, man. I don't need anything else on this trip.
It pulled around sideways, got the perfect view. That's pretty sweet.
I feel so patriotic now.
Oh, that's great.
So American.
Rushmore was amazing, and the profile's even better, right?
Oh, yeah, you can see right up his schnoz.
Why don't you go ahead and explain the part that the audience missed?
I might have allegedly run the car into a curb, which probably likely bent the wheel and popped the tire off the bead, and we don't have a lug wrench, nor do we have a jack.
And that town back there is completely closed, so we're 20 miles away from anything. So the solution to all of this is?
More burnouts?
Yeah.
And then limp our way out of here, very slowly.
I'm gonna watch. Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. We're under the nose of George Washington, and Finnegan had to do another burnout. I blame him.
Here we go. I just did a donut in front of Washington.
All right, let's go.
We're out of gas, dude.
Out of gas.
Ran out of gas twice, bent the wheel on the car, hit a curb. Yep, she's empty. I just did a 180 burnout in front of George Washington's nose. Best day at work ever.
Freezing, nothing more than freezing.
All right, we're back in business.
That was majestic.
It was exhilarating.
Presidential. bet that wheel's still bent.
Yeah. I know what we're doing tomorrow.
You could probably use 2 front tires, in truth, since you're only gonna do that again. Good morning.
Yo.
I'm sick.
You look bad.
I'm pretty sick.
Yeah, I don't mean like homeless. I mean like this is not homeless Dave. You just look unwell.
I feel better than that wheel.
It's concave.
Yeah.
It's got problems. So let's take it off and beat on it.
Okay, I'll get the jack.
Okay. It's like a hula hoop.
That has a lot of whoop-de-doo going on.
Not only did we bend the hoop, we bent the barrel of the wheel. It's concave.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Like at 50, it settled in and stopped vibrating.
Which was surprising, because that is junk.
Yeah. Oh no, now it's gonna be out of balance.
So while we're doing this, we have a local junkyard looking for wheels for us, but this is more adventurous. I'm pretty sure it's fixed.
It's better. It was worth the effort. Wow. It's a majestic, beautiful day today.
That's junk. I think we need to wait for the junkyard wheel.
Junkyard wheels?
Yeah.
All right, junkyard wheels.
Let's see what's wrong with this other wheel bearing while those guys are finding the wheel. I want to check one more thing that can't possibly be my fault since I didn't touch this car before yesterday, which is that this wheel bearing seems to be making a hideous noise. And sure enough, that is loose. We had a couple of things going on here. First of all, these wheels take the long shank, and it had short shanks on 2 of them. The other thing is, see how these wheel washers have some cup to them? You actually want to put the concave side towards the wheel and the convex side towards the lug. It actually says wheel side on the washer right there, and 2 of them were on backwards. And these wheels, it's really critical to have the long lugs because you can see they have to stick all the way through this weird, like, center cast aluminum bit and into the other side. And on top of that, look, this wheel is broken right by that lug.
We have bent wheels. Dave's apparently passed out in a vitamin C-induced coma. I figure I'll improve our fuel range and economy right here, right now. I got this, don't worry. It's a one-man job. This holds 14 gallons. That only holds 3. So we're gonna get rid of that. We're gonna plumb this. This is actually a boat gas tank. You can find this at really good hardware stores. All we gotta do is figure out a way to get a hose in here, plumb it to our electric fuel pump, and then we will have increased our fuel capacity nearly 5 times. And it fits. Look at that, that just fits right in there. We need a rubber line going from here to there. But you don't want to just put a rubber line inside the fuel and let it dangle in there, because eventually today's modern gasoline will degrade the rubber line and it'll just get soft and rubber chunks will go in your fuel, and next thing you know, you're stuck on the side of the road. So you need a metal line to go down in there, right? Air conditioning hard line. It's 3/8, it's perfect. I'm gonna use a unibit to put a hole in the tank. I'll put a rubber grommet to seal it, and then voila, it even has a high pressure 3/8 rubber hose on it. This might even be long enough to go connecting right to our electric fuel pump. So right now, I'm pumping out the 3-gallon fuel cell into this spare can so that I can disconnect the fuel line from that fuel cell. I've got to convert our fuel pump from AN line to rubber hose, which means I've got to get that fitting in the fuel pump. This right here. Gaff tape over that, put the fuel in there. We are good to go.
What'd I miss?
How you doing, Sleeping Beauty?
Sick. Oh, wow.
We have a fuel system. So we'll put some gas in it, wedge the toolbox behind it, front tires on the road.
Nice. I should sleep through all the work more often.
It's ready. Well, although not nearly as cool as our weld wheels, these junkyard 4-luggers are gonna get us down the road. To where? I have no idea. Right before we leave, let's autograph the wheel and leave it here and put it on the internet.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We got new rubber, we got new gas.
I got a nap. Make sure it runs and I'll slam it.
Will it roast them?
So is your pickup not?
Well, it's a giant gas tank. The pickup's at the bottom of it, but we have 2 gallons spread across an uneven sitting on a hill.
Probably needs more.
Yeah.
Okay. So pour more in.
If we had more.
I thought they have a whole gas can full.
That's what I dumped in that one.
Oh.
We're out.
Pretty sure it's not picking up fuel out of the tank. We need more gas. Okay, it's 9 degrees out now. This thing is cranking and cranking and cranking and not starting. So we're going to the ether.
Whoa. Hey.
It's cranking and he's got the key out.
Disconnect the
Pop
battery.
the hood.
Ah. That's not good.
It's locked up.
Whew.
I hit that and it stopped. It's cold.
That's not good.
No, that was funny.
Okay.
Did you see what just happened there? We went and started it and it died, but the engine was still cranking. I opened the hood and just hit the starter relay with my fist right here, and it stopped. It's like the relay froze shut. Squirt it. There's no fuel in the balls. No accelerator pump. Zamma Jamma boat tank is not working.
I understand this should work. I'm wondering if it didn't suck up the piece of plastic I drilled.
So if they got picked up, they could have jammed the fuel pump. Nope.
Yeah, it's not changing pitch or anything. Get a water bottle filled with gas.
And prime it.
Yeah. It's not even trying, dude.
Pump is not doing jack. It must have plastic in it.
Yeah, okay. I guess shut it off. Take the pump out.
I think what we're gonna have to do is pull that pump out of there and see what's wrong, because we've tested every which way and the electric fuel pump just is not pulling fuel. We're entering hour 8 in the hotel parking lot. First, it was the wheel that was mangled that we could not straighten out. Then it was the hunt at local junkyards to find new wheels that would go on there. Then there was tightening a wheel bearing. That was no big deal. And now what's going on is that the new fuel system that Mike also fabricated while we were here has failed. The fuel pump is not pumping fuel. Our operating theory is that the plastic that he drilled into the gas tank got sucked up and is in the fuel pump and is keeping it from flowing. We're probably gonna get another one. We got the fuel pump out. There's no plastic in here. This is fine. It is a gear rotor pump.
There's a screen right here.
Is there?
Yeah.
I've never seen a screen on one of those. That's perfectly wide open.
Better question is, why didn't Cotton put a fuel filter back here?
Yeah, let's blame him.
I wired the relay. That works. Let's call him. Maybe there's a hidden fuel filter we haven't found.
And it's clogged.
And it's clogged.
This is Mike Finnegan.
T-Bizzle, think back to where you were plumbing the fuel system.
Yep.
Where's the fuel filter?
Fuel filter was in the back of the in the trunk.
We agree.
Right, yeah, it should have been. Do you remember actually installing one, is the question.
Yeah, it was in there. And there's a little blue filter inline right between the tank and the pump.
There's our man's filter right there.
Yeah. We don't have a fitting to make that work, though.
You are blameless, young man.
Yeah, good game. Way to hustle.
Yeah.
I gotta go now. Don't rub it in. Love you. Bye. Well, I can't be sure, but I think having the fuel filter on the inlet side of that pump is pretty much what killed it. So we just went and got another Holley fuel pump. We're gonna put a new fuel filter on the outlet side of it.
If you have a filter that has too much restriction on the inlet side of an electric fuel pump, it makes the pump work too hard. It has to like suck really hard, and it often fails them. So that probably maybe what happened. We're not sure. All we're doing is replacing parts.
We're gonna hook it in there, wire it up, and then we should be, in theory, good to go. New fuel pump is in, put our boat tank back in there, and pretty much, I think it's fixed. I heard it prime.
Sounds good. And, oh yeah, we got fuel squirter. We are fixed.
Let's go.
Okay, fired up. And it lives. I gotta be honest, we're probably staying the night in Rapid City again because we've done like 14 hours in the hotel parking lot, but we gotta go find out if it works.
Car's fixed. We've been in this town 4 days.
We have 2 days to go 600 miles.
We can do that.
You'll notice I cleverly have not told the audience yet where we're going, so that wherever we end up ends up being the win.
You can't lose.
We can't lose. I did promise that we had a project vehicle we haven't seen yet, though. Stay on this 336 miles.
What's our current speed, sir?
Oh, you can do better than this. 56?
This feels safe.
How about like 70?
Oh. We don't have overdrive.
We should. It's an AOD. It's got the circle around the D, which means overdrive.
I wonder if it won't go overdrive because we pulled the cable all the way tight.
Possible. It thinks you're wide open all the time.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
It sounds to me like it's only at like 2,500 RPM, maybe less.
Yeah, I was thinking like 28, 29. Like, it seems fairly chirpy right here.
We gotta make miles.
The last time we did this sort of thing was in the Dragoir, and we lost the lower pulley. Remember?
Yes, I do.
If that happens again, it will not be as fun because
It probably won't run quite as well.
it's freezing.
Yeah. Our first fail. Not too bad, but I'm worried that, look how I can shake the whole engine.
Stock rubber mounts are not as good as they used to be.
Wow. I just didn't want these bolts to fall out and go through the blower. The engine I don't care about. I don't want to ruin the blower. I'm pretty sure you have the technology to fix that. I'll be sitting in the car. Man, it's cold.
Okay, that's great.
Man, it's been going pretty good today. We've gone almost 200 miles. This thing's motoring along, no problem so far. We're trying to make it all the way to Fargo, North Dakota tonight. 300 miles from here. And unfortunately, we have very small gas capacity and we just put 87 octane in this thing for the very first time. I don't think Finnegan knows that, so let's get out of here before he notices. Oh, this is not gonna be fun. At our last gas stop, it was like in the 30s. And I think it's gotta be under the 20s now. The thing is running so bad because of the cold.
Hey, it's snowing.
Yeah, and it's actively snowing.
Cool. I have a bottle of heat. I'll put it in the fuel. Maybe we can turn the scoop around backwards.
Yeah,
We'll be good.
it's gonna help. So first thing I'm gonna do here is take the scoop off and flip it around, just so we're not ramming as much cold air and ice right down the carburetor.
This is called heat, and it removes moisture out of fuel, prevents rust and corrosion.
That's a boom. You can see what these guys did. They made a bracket to bolt this directly to the carburetors and eliminate the air cleaners entirely. That's why it's running terrible. The boosters are completely frozen over. The boosters in the carburetor, which is where the air passes through them and it draws the fuel out of them, it's so cold, they're iced over. So the holes in the bottom of it are not atomizing the fuel like they need to. It's just glugging. Some of it's probably not getting into the engine at all, and that's why it's misfiring so terribly. Not everyone does this.
And if it keeps the snow out, then it's a good positive change. All right, you're doing great. I'll be in the car.
I knew that was gonna happen.
Woo! Good day. You're doing great, Freiburger.
Okay, I've got that handled. I think we're out of here. Okay. You know, when you think Fargo, you think this.
Yeah, this is like that movie. Like you're just driving along this desolate, frozen, horrific road.
Yeah. It's running better.
Oh, it runs great.
I fixed the carburetor.
I'm afraid to give it any more throttle, just in case it just stays there.
Yeah.
Unconditionally.
But those boosters were clearly the problem.
Yeah.
We're 180 miles from our final destination in Fargo, and our windshield wipers just stopped working. And there's melty snow on the windshield that's now freezing. Yikes.
Now I can't see.
The semis just screw you. We're gonna have to exit.
Oh, God.
Shift.
Please shift gently.
Shift. There.
Oh.
Whoa.
We're gonna get to a point where this just becomes crazy.
That's right now. I mean, that tells you how loose it is out there, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know that we're getting to Fargo.
Yep.
When the trans can't shift without the car sliding, that's not good.
Right. It just tells you how slippery it really is.
Yeah, it's just gonna get worse. So now let's go back.
And dark is gonna be spooky.
Yep.
So what was that last night? About 140 miles worth of fail?
No, it wasn't failure. I'd wager that was the most exciting part of this journey.
Yeah.
It's the burnouts in front of George Washington.
It was sketchy.
Yeah.
This thing with the locked rear end was slipping everywhere, especially on the shifts. That was crazy.
Yeah, every time the trans shifted, the car would just step out and want to go off the road. And that's not good. I mean, it's 7 degrees this morning, I think.
Yeah.
The road is frozen. So we're gonna build our own heater right now.
And make it happen.
And make it happen. Maybe we'll put chains on later, I don't know, but we're gonna keep going.
Heater?
Yeah, we need heat, because it's freezing in there.
Is the key in here?
I think I left them in there, hoping somebody would steal it.
No one stole this.
Day's not over yet.
No one looked at this car and said, yeah, I'm gonna steal that and joyride it because it's 5 degrees and icy. I went to the gas station and got this awesome Hannibal Lecter mask.
I can't look at you anymore.
Okay, ready? Heat.
Oh, yeah. We need a way to get the extension cord into the car without opening the doors and windows.
I was gonna see. I'm plenty good with this if you are.
Okay. We don't know whether our heater core leaks or not, but it's not plumbed anyway, so we bought a generator. We're gonna strap this to the trunk, fire it up so that we have 110 volt AC power coming out, and then we bought a heater that is the exact same amp draw as this thing allegedly will provide. And then we'll put the heater in the car and try not to set ourselves on fire.
And I think it has a shut-off if it falls over. There you go, hey!
It's working. Okay.
Nice.
All right. We strap this down, we run the cord in, put the heater on.
Part of the reason for the heater, by the way, is not just our personal comfort, but it's because as we're driving, the condensation from our breath is freezing to the inside of the windows and we can't see.
And don't worry, it's not gonna obstruct our vision because we don't have a rear view mirror anyway.
Yeah. Why do you get the 30-foot extension cord?
I'm gonna unstick the throttle. Are you ready? Woo!
Can you hand me the plug? Oh, why is this thing at 230 degrees?
I don't know.
How are we overheating? Because the fan is frozen solid?
Is that possible?
Get moving. Yeah, that's possible.
All right.
We are overheating in 5-degree weather. Only roadkill. Now it's 250.
Is our water pump not running? Oh, did the water pump freeze? It's electric.
Yep.
Let's jump out and hit it real quick, because this is not...
Yeah, that's not gonna fly. Okay.
I'll turn the key from the safety and comfort of
I figured you would.
11 degree in here. Well, because you got the hockey mask on.
Yeah.
You're good out there.
The fan is working, so it's gotta be the water pump. The water pump is blazing hot, so I would think if it's frozen, it's melted.
Yeah, it's froze up.
Or is the fuse blown because it was frozen and it barely made it 100 yards out of the hotel, and the thing is overheating at 260 degrees. It blew the fuse on the water pump, probably because the water in the pump was frozen, and so the electric motor stalled and blew the fuse. We put a new fuse in it, but with all the noise and stuff, I can't tell if the pump's running or not, so we're gonna fire it up and see if it cools. It didn't blow the fuse again.
It just dropped like 40 degrees. We're good.
We think we're good. Okay. Plugged in.
Yeah. Oh, it's making warmth, dude.
Oh, man.
It is making warmth. Oh, man.
We're good.
Oh, it's beautiful. All right, we're making it. Let's go.
Sure.
Needs Edsel. I don't want to shift. Oh, there we go. Okay, we're shifting.
Man, I can get rid of the Hannibal Lecter.
Oh, dude, the heater is money right now.
Yeah.
This might be better than factory. Somebody call Ford. They might want to adopt this technology.
I liked our troubleshooting on the water pump. So the water pump froze solid, so when it fired up, it blew the fuse. But then we overheated it to melt the water pump and then replaced the fuse, and we were good to go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, we're not just parts replacers. We're automotive investigators.
The generator on the trunk's a good look. If that generator survives this, I give it a lot of credit. I give it credit for firing up in 7-degree weather.
I do too.
Oh, there.
Good.
Third gear.
Third gear. Now we're moving.
Oh, this isn't good. He was cruising the thing on the highway like steady state RPM or steady state throttle, and the thing just started to die. We smelled oil. Hopefully it just ran out of gas. There is nothing.
There's very little.
Where'd it go?
I see oil dripping everywhere from the cross member and...
We have a massive oil leak. He's gonna try and crank it and see if the engine's blocked up.
Come on, baby, don't be seized up.
Well, the good news is it runs.
It's out of gas.
We did make it to North Dakota. We're like 30 miles from Fargo, and it's officially 0 degrees right now.
I think it's out of gas. I think it just ran off the accelerator pump just now.
Okay,
So
then,
we'll put oil in it,
yeah,
put gas in it, keep going.
right.
All right.
And the better news is we think we can keep going.
Do we have oil?
Of course not.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Oh, why are we doing this? Oh, because it's awesome. I remember. Ah, it's so cold.
We got oil. It's pouring out of the oil pressure sender. It's leaking really badly out of the oil pressure sending unit, like the cold just cracked it in half. But I think we can make it to where we got the oil, where there's a parts store where we can put a pipe plug in it. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, we made it to this parts store, and I've got a set of, you know, fake channel locks I'm gonna use to try and get this thing out. Looks like a quarter pipe plug, just broke in half. This part opened up right there, and all the oil's just gushing out of it.
I just so happen to have a quarter pipe plug.
Boom.
Yo.
Tell you what, this is better than having a freeze plug fall out a bunch of times.
Uh-oh.
That was all half of it.
You know what made me feel much better about that? Yeah.
All right, I think we got that repaired.
140 miles to go. Let's do this. Dude, there it is.
We made it.
50 more yards, and technically we're on the property where the next project car is.
There was a time last night when I honestly did not think we were driving this all the way.
Oh, but here we are.
We did it.
Yes. Yes.
He said, pull in and keep going until we get stuck.
Okay, okay.
Oh, there it is.
Whoa.
We made it.
Whoa.
Yeah. We made it all the way in. Check that thing out.
You could touch nose to nose. That's how good we are at this. Oh, this is what winning looks like right here.
Victory is ours. Kill that thing.
No longer necessary.
We no longer need the T-Bird.
Dude, look at it.
Look at the majesty of this thing. Man, so a year and a half ago, we bought this thing sight unseen because it's probably the greatest vehicle that we've ever had as a starting point. You agree?
Technically, I saw it on Instagram.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you never saw it in person? Never
No,
saw
I just
video?
Knew. I just knew it was a great idea.
Just knew we had to have it.
Yeah.
Not only is it like the full-on Chrysler, I think it's a Newport, but it's got bonus doors. Check this out.
Count them, Dave. One, 2, 3, 4 handles on each side.
Yeah! You know what? The greatest thing about this vehicle is that it's not a limo. It's an airport car. So it's not designed for, like, you know, the Las Vegas stripper party. It's designed to haul people from an airport to a hotel. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 doors on each side and bench seats at each location.
12. That's how many people you could fit in here comfortably. 16 if you try hard.
Exactly. Oh, look at the mold. Yuck. Look at all of the controls on the dash. What is that?
The front seat has headrests built into it. It reminds me of the bucket seats in some of your cars.
Yeah.
This thing's gangster, man. It needs tinted windows and a big block and a locked rear end.
And a lot of burnouts for distance.
Yes.
I can see the snow from where I'm standing by looking through the carpet of the car. That's a bad sign.
But during the summer, it won't matter. That's like air conditioning.
Yeah. We did it!
Damn right we did it. Let's go start a fire.
I know what you've been thinking. Why would these two idiots be driving a roots-blown Thunderbird across the frozen tundra for no reason whatsoever when they could have been just hanging out doing burnouts in front of Mount Rushmore? Well, this is what it's all about. This is our new project vehicle. This is a 1971 Chrysler Newport, which would be nothing special whatsoever, your standard cruising model C-body, except for it's got like 50% more. Instead of having 2 doors or even 4, it's got 8. And we looked at the wheelbase and we're like, you know what? This thing could probably do burnouts in a dead straight line absolutely forever. And that's our plan for a future episode.
We have another project car. We're not even gonna pick this up today, but just knowing it exists physically and that it's not just a picture I saw on Instagram 2 years ago makes me all warm and fuzzy inside. And right now, I'm gonna go get physically warm and fuzzy inside because it's -4 degrees here. Limo, I'll see you later.
It's not a limo.
It is to me.
Ooh, Rockerville.
Woo! Yeah, buddy.
Let's go. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Thank you, America. This time on Roadkill, we're going home.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Here we go with the stay-at-home episode of Roadkill, or in this case, the stay-in-the-garage episode of Roadkill. The quarantine is going on, coronavirus is rampant, and I know I'm actually quarantining really hardcore. And so we weren't able to hit the road and shoot a normal episode of Roadkill. That is gonna come back next time. We did that road trip with the D100. You're gonna see that episode, and then after that, we have another plan for some wrenching episodes in our garages, but hopefully we're back to normal. But this time, we're here in our personal garages, and I was looking here at the backgrounds of our video conferencing, and you can see the difference in our personalities. Mine is a disaster, and it's all about engine parts, and Finnegan's is all neat and tidy, and it's all about fabrication.
Yeah, but you have that great mood lighting that really highlights your facial features, and I can't help but notice the Hemi tunnel ram directly behind your head that you've never said, hey, let's put this on blasphemy.
That's what that is right there. How could that possibly run better than a blower? It won't. All right, so let's roll right into it. This is going to be our opinion of the top 10 greatest fan favorite roadkill cars of all time, with some great clips and commentary. And let's roll right into it with number 10, which is the car that's been in the fleet the longest of the ones that are on this list. And it's also been in more Motor Trend episodes than any other car. It is the 1967 Chevy Camaro that we call the Crusher. First on the countdown is the Crusher Camaro. A 1967 model that's been around since 1994 when I bought it for $700 from a guy that was dropping it off at the junkyard to get it crushed. Hence the name, the Crusher Camaro. This car has been in 3 episodes of Roadkill, 4 episodes of Roadkill Garage, 3 of Hot Rod Garage, and it's also been in 2 shows you may not even know about here on Motor Trend, Hot Rod Unlimited and Hot Rod TV. And it was in one of the pre-Roadkill episodes that Finnegan and I did together. As far as Roadkill history goes, the first appearance was in episode 19 when we road tripped it with my Super Bee to the drag strip in Salt Lake City. It had a blown big block in it back then and did some of the best burnouts ever. But the Crusher Camaro has a history of changing its looks all the time. So, in episode 24, we removed the big block and installed a 700 horsepower LS7 in a live video feed from the floor of a trade show. Next, we drove it all the way from Indy to California. And later, Finnegan ran 10:07 in the quarter mile at Sacramento Raceway with that LS7 power plant. After the LS7, Tony and Lucky installed an LS3 and ended up hurting it at the drag strip. And so Steve Dulcich and I removed that LS3 in episodes of Roadkill Garage. Then we built a tunnel ram 400 cubic inch small block that was on fire. We gave it a retro rake and a hood scoop inspired by pro stock cars of the early 70s. We took it to the drag strip a couple of times, and after one of only 2 episodes that we fully shot at my house before today, it finally ran 1070 at 122 miles an hour. Yeah! Man, that car is great. Okay, I'm gonna make a very bold statement considering that I still own my first car, the Super Bee. I'm gonna say that the Crusher Camaro is my personal favorite car of anything that I own.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought for sure you would go Crusher Impala because you seem to enjoy that way more times of the year, you know?
No, that car is a riot. The thing about the Crusher is that it's really simple, it's been fast, it's worked well with every combination I've thrown at it. I get to change it all the time, and it's just beat up enough that I don't mind doing stuff with it, but it's also fairly presentable. So, no, I love that thing. It's great. So let's go into some favorite clips. What's your best memory of the Crusher Camaro?
The clip I'm about to show you is me spinning it out at a medium pace across a parking lot with KJ Jones in the passenger seat.
3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, you were thrashing on the Crusher pretty hard there. I think the best thing about it was KJ's terror.
Yeah, wrong tires, wrong surface. If you look close, I ran over dirt in that parking lot, and that's what sent it spinning. But the thing I didn't notice earlier, and it's been years since I've seen that episode, is how many cool cars were in it. I mean, that was a good time.
Okay, let's go into my favorite clip of this car, and it was hard to choose because this thing has had so many different looks, and I know that the fans love the blower on it, but really the greatest moment that is on film with that car to me is in an episode of Roadkill Garage most recently. I think it was episode 49. The key was the wheelies. Not blasphemy level wheelies, but pretty good wheelies. Check it out.
Dude, you're leaning heavily on the slow-mo to make that video look impressive, I gotta say.
Okay, I remember how excited you were the first time Blasphemy got this much air and that junk didn't even go down the track for 2 years, so I don't want to hear it.
This is true, and here's the thing is, while I don't think the wheelie is amazing, because it's not, the car itself is awesome.
I appreciate it, I really like it. My biggest conundrum with the thing is I know that the fans love it with the blown big block in it, but I want to make the small block even faster. I guess what's coming up for that car is potential panel paint 60s style, maybe a stronger small block, and eventually back to the blown big block. All right, so there's a wrap up on the Crusher Camaro. Now let's go into the next Crusher. It's number 9 on the list.
Coming in at number 9 is the Crusher Impala. This 1969 Chevy is one of Freiburger's favorite roadkill project cars of all time, and who can deny the awesomeness of doing block-long burnouts in a giant boat of a car with 700 horsepower under the hood. It gets even better because blasting through that massive steel hood is the heart of the Crusher Camaro, a 489 cubic inch big block Chevy with an 871 supercharger.
Yeah, oh, look at the motivation.
How's that?
You're gonna go there already. That is so ridiculous.
Freiburger and I created this beast in episode 60 because we wanted to treat our Australian friends Marty and Moog from Mighty Car Mods to the ultimate American car experience. V8 power and a long wheelbase rear-wheel drive application. We've done everything with this Crusher. We've autocrossed it. We've done burnouts for distance. It does donuts for days. Hell, we've even raced it around a rally track and it just keeps on overheating and coming back for more. So here's the thing about this car, Dave. I love the torque. I love the gearing. I love the wheel speeds. I love the 911 style phone call burnouts. I just can't get around the body style. Except for those brief moments when it's making tire smoke, I pretty much don't like the car.
Well, one of the things I like about it the most is that you hate it the most. As a matter of fact, we have a clip of you stating out loud, I hate this car.
I hate the Impala. I don't want to drive the Impala. It's a death trap. I don't recall saying that, but it's not untrue.
We rank this list as far as what I believe is a fan favorite. People love it, even though you hate the thing.
For whatever reason, the big body four-door, it does nothing for me. So the only saving grace on that car is the blower, it is the gears, it is the torque, and it is the ridiculous burnouts.
Well, it is in fact a two-door, which shows how much you've been paying attention. But let me see if I can actually...
See, it's so big, it looks like a four-door.
Let me see if I can change your mind right here with two fantastic clips of the two things this car does the best. We're gonna see sliding action at Dirtfish, which I would argue is almost superior to your action in the General Mayhem. And then we're gonna see what it really does best, is massive burnouts.
Nice! There's no way that's better than General Mayhem at Dirtfish. And I'll argue, if you take the drivetrain out of that car and put it back where it belongs in the Crusher Camaro, that car gets thrown in the gutter.
All right, I'll let the fans decide. Okay, this is what we've been waiting for. I promised you like 100 yards, right?
100 yards?
Think I can live up to it?
Let's go. Holy cow! Whoa!
So, Mike, as much as you hate the car, you're still obligated to pick a favorite clip. What is it?
I'm gonna remind you of a time in our lives when we hung out with the dudes from Mighty Car Mods, Marty and Moog, and you did something unthinkable.
Even you picked it. Some of the greatest moments ever. I had forgotten about the tire coming off the wheel, but I got to use that to say something to the fans, which is that people ask me all the time, oh man, have you put a posi in that thing? Yes, years ago, as I showed you in my clip. Have you put an alternator on it? Yes, years ago. Have you put a better blower on it where the strips aren't worn out? Yes, years ago. The car is all fixed. As a matter of fact, you're going to see it in an upcoming Roadkill garage where we make it even better than ever. I'll be touching that thing with Dulcich instead of with you from now on.
The engine rules. The car,
I totally get it. Let's let the fans decide whether Finnegan wins on hating the car or I win on loving it. I'm gonna win. All right, now we're gonna move on to pick number 8. And number 8 is the NASCARlo. This is a circle track race car chassis topped with a 71 Chevy Monte Carlo body. We first built the car in episode 46, but we bought the circle track race car years before because it was cheap. It had a strong 350 engine and a clutchless 4-speed and a quick change rear end. But it sat around forever neglected before we finally decided to body swap it. We got a bare Monte Carlo body already stripped from my buddy Hector. The wheelbase of the race car was shorter than the Monte Carlo, so we had to shorten the body, and we couldn't make it look right until Brandon Gologly from Hot Rod suggested leaving the roof full size and just sliding it back on the quarter panels. It looked awesome. We road tripped this car on the highway, which was super sketchy, and we took it to a dirt track a couple of hours away.
Good luck.
Yeah, no, I've never done anything even remotely like this before.
Awesome.
And let's just say that was the start of a lot more helmet use on Roadkill. The NASCARlo appeared in 2 of our landmark Project Car shootout episodes, the 50th and the 75th, which was really the 74th because Roadkill. For the 50th episode, we just autocrossed it. The bigger impact was in the 74th, where we returned to the fan-favorite Dirtfish Rally School, where the NASCARlo had the quickest time of all 8 cars that we had there.
159.54, yeah! Nice work.
Most recently, the NASCARlo was on the 5th episode of Faster with Finnegan, where Mike became the 2nd Roadkill host to crash the car.
Sorry about that.
But Dave Newbern, Mike Cotton, and Finnegan fixed it up and made the NASCARlo better than ever.
I like basically the race car part of it, and the body was awesome until we crashed it.
The thing is, you've talked so much about wanting to rebody the thing, and I'm just not down with that, because then it won't be the NASCARlo. It'll forever be the car that used to be the NASCARlo.
Once it got backed into the wall, the back end of the car got crooked. And then once we took it to Dirtfish and blew a tire, and the only tires we could get were too big, we had to hack the quarters. Like, the car's just kind of gone downhill from the doors back. Now that we've done it once, I know how to do it better. So the next time we get a 71 Monte Carlo body and do it, it will be dope. And I really think we should, because the front end of that car now is amazing.
Well, let's look at the actual moment where I destroyed this thing, because my favorite clip of this car is the first time I backed the thing into the wall at the dirt track. It's the only time I've ever put a car into the wall. Here goes.
Oh, no.
Well, that was not keeping it off the wall. Okay, for the record, the crash was not my fault. It actually broke a ball joint in the front end. So what's your favorite clip on the NASCARlo?
It's eerily similar to yours. On an episode of Faster with Finnegan, some ninja came out of nowhere, this tire, I don't know how, landed in the infield right in my path. It was crazy.
Wasn't your fault.
Let's watch.
Whoa! Oh!
I might have broke the camera on that one.
I crashed a lot of cars last year, including that one.
But for the record, once again, actually your fault. However, I will say that track looked dry, man. You had no water on the clay at all. But I will give you this. The front end does look way better than it ever has.
And doesn't the front end just make you want to fix the back end, the top, the sides, all of it?
Nah.
No.
Not really.
All right, moving on to car number 7. Number 7 on our list is the legendary Vet Cart. This 1985 Chevrolet C4 Corvette represents the very first assignment given to me by Freiburger when we both worked at Hot Rod Magazine. The scheme was an extension of a previous Hot Rod Magazine story, which tested the effects of extreme weight loss on a car to drag strip. Our worn-out, small block powered stick shift Corvette would go on a similar diet while running laps around a paved oval track. The end result was an ill-handling, man-sized open-air moon buggy that weighed 2,500 pounds. Since that fateful day of destruction at the Speedway, the C4 has morphed into the Vet Cart. We caged it and upgraded the suspension. Then, we replaced the motor. And now it's the Swiss Army knife of hot rods.
It's working!
We love it because it can do anything for cheap. This thing excels on-road and at the drag strip. And the Vet Cart is amazing at burnouts. It works off-road and in the sand. It even handles pretty well on a road course. And you can even drive it on 2 wheels, as long as you don't mind landing on your head.
Well, that was pretty good.
This truly is the ultimate driving machine. You just can't send it off any sweet jumps.
Might have got the radiator. Yeah, you got it that time.
I love the Vet Cart. I do. I like it with a roll cage. I like it without a roll cage because it kind of looks like a lunar rover. It's just good, cheap fun. The only thing I don't like about this car is the engine sucks.
I actually think that the Vet Cart is one of my greatest, inspired brain children. It's an actual good idea to take a C4 Corvette, cut the whole ugly part of it off, the whole body of the thing, and roll cage the thing and race it as long as you dial in the suspension. What's your favorite clip of the Vet Cart?
One of my bestest days at work ever was when you allowed me to. In fact, you may have begged. You asked for it. You said, lift the Vet Cart up on 2 wheels, Mike, with that forklift and flip it over with me inside. So I did. Watch this.
This might not work.
You're right. Who knew it was so hard to flip over a Vet Cart?
That's better.
That's better. Should we see if it runs right there?
Yeah, give it a shot. Running.
Wow, this is pretty good. How do I look?
You look like you're about to fall over.
Okay.
You ready?
Sure. There we go. Ah! That hurt.
Holy crap. You all right?
Yeah, but it's spilling gas. Get me over. How about just get a bunch of guys and try and flip it? This would feel so much better if there weren't gas dripping. Aside from that, I'm pretty good.
Don't worry, it's race gas. It'll evaporate. Coming down.
Oh, that's the part that hurt. You could see our producer Taylor in that clip and Brandon Galogly from Hot Rod, who actually named Roadkill. I didn't catch whoever else was in there, but yeah, that was a pretty good moment. That was funny.
Good times, and nobody died.
I wanted to show people the glory of the Vet Cart, which was the very first time that we took it out and we raced it against the Lingenfelter Corvette. And at the end of the day, we just went out on that skid pad and did endless donuts. I thought that was pretty cool. So let's have a look at that. What's the status of the car now? I don't know after Faster with Finnegan. Is it completely maimed or is it still running?
It's totally fine. There's a hole in the oil pan and the entire front suspension is wadded up on it. That's all.
Oh, okay. So we're pretty good. I would bring the thing back. How about you?
Totally, totally. There's so much potential with that car. And again, we still haven't spent a bunch of money on it. Like the rear suspension mods, those were $300 shocks off of a UTV. There's no money in that thing. We should keep fixing it.
Okay, next up, number 6 in the greatest roadkill cars. Number 6 is the Jaguar. A 1974 Jaguar XJ12 loaded with a small block Chevy and topped with a supercharger. It first appeared in episode 7, where we bought the car for $1,000 and it already had a Chevy 350 in it. All we did was slap on a Hawaiian blower in the parking lot of Gatelli's Speed Shop in South San Francisco. The Jaguar is born. This is where Finnegan famously said,
That's tea and crumpets covered in Jack Daniels right there.
the blown Jaguar became immediately famous for overheating. And of course, we cooled it down by going through drive-through car washes.
Oh, okay, windows leak. Oh, that totally worked. It barely wanted to start because it was so hot. And when I left the car wash, needle was back in the middle of the gauge, fired right up.
In the end, I watered the entire track at Sacramento Raceway. The Jaguar also became the first car on Roadkill to have the hood taken off for cooling. Get some, yeah! The first major overhaul was on the very first Hot Rod Garage, where we installed another blown crate motor that made 640 horsepower and ran 1251 at the drag strip with the suspension breaking off.
Whoa! Whoa! Oh God, that's scary.
But we fixed that so that Randy Popes could road race the car in episode 41.
I can't see to the right, people. The last corner. Please God, let it end.
Next, the Jaguar was in the Roadkill Takes America cross-country trip and ran 12-12 at 108 miles an hour at Tulsa, even though Finnegan said the transmission was slipping. But you watch, this is going to be the quickest the car has ever run. The Jaguar is one of our best burnout cars, and it won the distance contest in episode 50. We also joined Hot Rod Magazine's challenge for the world's largest collection of cars doing burnouts at the same time. And the Jaguar caught on fire, but just a little bit. It's also our very first self-driving car, as proven by Steve Dulcich. After all of that, we had never fixed the transmission, so we stabbed in a new GearStar unit after Roadkill Nights and had a hilarious road trip where the 383 engine gave up on us because of rust in the cylinders from bad storage.
How come we can never get it right? It's like we had a great engine and a slipping transmission. Now we have a great GearStar and a wrecked motor.
Even so, it raced exhibition at an NHRA national event in Minnesota. It went 1267 with the blower belt falling off, and we let Leah Pruitt beat us in the other lane in a brand new Hellcat.
Oh, right, he made it down the track.
I just went down a drag strip at an NHRA national event.
That was amazing! Now it needed a new engine again, which we installed in the parking lot of Summit Racing in Nevada, just like we'd done with Mike's El Camino years earlier. And when we were done, we didn't give it 10 feet of break-in before we did more amazing burnouts. On the road trip, we had a bunch of problems with the blower drive falling apart, and we fixed it in the middle of nowhere. Wow.
We can put it back together.
We can put it back together.
But it's not gonna last.
No. There was also more drag racing, this time at Firebird in Idaho, and it went 1252.
Go, baby!
1252 at 108 miles an hour again. Still slower than that 12-12 run in Tulsa years earlier. The Jaguar just refuses to improve. It's as good as it gets. The thing to me about the Jaguar is it's like our sleeper hero car. I like it. It does great burnouts. It runs and drives like anywhere you want. It's comfortable. But the thing about it is we stupidly just ruin engines in it for absolutely no reason. And no matter how much we work on the thing, it never gets better, ever.
Yeah, but we ruin engines and everything. That's not the Jaguar's fault. That car is just a symbol of just awesomeness, you know, and excess. And it's a ridiculous motor sticking out of a car that it doesn't belong in, and it does ridiculous burnouts. And I have a love for it that will not die.
It does other things as well. Let's go into my favorite clip of this car, which actually has nothing to do with drag racing. It's Motor Trend's hero driver, Randy Pope's taking the thing around, I think it was Horse Thief Mile at Willow Springs International Raceway. This is pretty good.
It's a combination of respect for the power that's been magically inserted into this old car and a combination of fear for my life.
Oh, yeah. I like that part.
Right about now, Randy's rethinking all of his life choices leading up to this very moment.
There it is. See the aluminum come off the wheel?
Yeah, it was machining itself. It was self-clearancing.
Whoa, brake pedal soft. Wow.
That's something. Thank you, Roadkill. Never again.
So there you go. That was like some different kind of roadkill action. That was my best moment with the thing. I just thought it was cool that we got him to drive it. How about you?
Yeah, that was great, but I'm gonna one-up you right here with a burnout clip that ultimately stopped us from leaving when we really wanted to leave a place.
Yeah, so this is at Summit Racing after we installed the second Blueprint 383 in this thing after we ruined the first one.
I forgot how fun this is.
Yeah, we had to do this because remember, they repaved the parking lot after we did the engine swap in the El Camino, and you used to be able to see that mark we left from space, and you couldn't anymore, so we had to fix that.
Look at the marks this does, dude.
Wow. Oh, you cannot see it from satellite view. I was hoping that was a thing, but we'll have to become legends for other reasons. So, you know what? The last time I saw the Jaguar was the recent Roadkill zip tie drags, and you had told me that you had overheated the thing to death on Faster with Finnegan, but I think it ran okay. I think it's not hurt.
We overheated it bad. Like, the starter was falling out of the car, and one of the bolts in the block, I think, was stripped. And so we had to leave the Jaguar running for about 3 hours straight, idling.
You left it running for 3 hours? It must have been at like 320 degrees.
No, remember how big that radiator is? It doesn't overheat just sitting there. It still runs 12s, man. She good.
That's it. We are halfway through the countdown, so let's take a break now and talk about a couple of project cars that people ask me about on social all the time. Number one is probably the Maserati pickup, one of Finnegan's favorites.
Can we have a moment of silence? Okay, there.
Okay, that was good.
So Maserati, still stolen. It hasn't found itself, although because of that and social media, any Mazda RPU pickup on the planet is in my inbox. I loved the Maserati. I don't want to build another one because the honest to God truth is that truck sucked. I just like the idea of the Maserati. I don't want to build another one. I don't want another 455 volts and Bassett boat headers. It sucked. It didn't do anything good.
So then there's Pigpen, which is probably the vehicle that I have been most wrong about in my entire roadkill career, because we rescued that thing out of a junkyard where it had been sitting forever. We actually made it run and drive. We got it down the highway. The exhaust was pinched shut. We didn't know it. The engine was like destroying itself, and we abandoned the thing. So we got rid of it. And next thing you know, like 6 years later, people still ask me about it all the time. So the deal is we sold it to the guy who was our director, who's now our showrunner, Dustin Gould, and he's working on it with his father-in-law, and their plan is to completely re-chassis the thing. I had advised a complete Roadster Shop chassis, and remember we had that LS motor that was in the red van, and then it came out of the van and it went into the dirt everyday motorhome that they flopped onto its side? Well, that same engine is like now free out of the motorhome, and I suggested that we put that in the pig pen. So I don't know what you will and won't see on Roadkill, but you can follow social media and get updates on Pigpen someday, ultimately coming back together in its radically more expensive version than you ever anticipated. But now we're going to go into the 5th spot on our list of the greatest Roadkill cars of all time.
Cracking number 5 on our list is the General Mayhem, the first edition. Fact, the 1968 Dodge Charger has the best taillight design of any 60s era muscle car. And when you combine those lights with the Coke bottle shape of the body, you get a car that looks amazing no matter how you restyle it. General Mayhem 1.0 makes this list for many reasons, and the original buildup is what helped it achieve legendary status. We bought a really crappy Walter White motorhome, and after having fun bombing around the neighborhood in it, we proceeded to gut the front half of the RV to score its low-mileage 440 engine and 727 trans. We spent a lot of nights and weekends crafting the perfect dirt bomber Dodge, and when we finished, we had the time of our lives in the desert and at Dirtfish Rally School. Eventually, the car once again went under the knife at Diversified Creations, where it was turned into a full-blown drag car with big and little tires, a Dodge Hellcat drivetrain swap, and a roll cage.
This thing's insane.
Obviously, 1968 Dodge Charger, there isn't a planet on which this car is not cool. Best taillights ever, Coke bottle shape, it's awesome. And when you combine that with motorhome parts and steel wheels and part store tires and you go off-road, it's legendary. However, when you change a couple of those key ingredients, it's not as cool. It's still cool, but it's not as cool. I like what happened later on with the Hellcat drivetrain swap, that's cool. But I'm not into the stance now. It's kind of changed the nature of the car. It's not as cool as it used to be. And it's expensive. It's a expensive car now, so when you smash it, it's gonna suck.
Yeah, all of that is not to say we haven't had a great time with it with the Hellcat Power. I mean, we've drag raced it a bunch. We've done amazing burnouts with it. But it is important to note that when I added Mayhem to this top 10 list, I did specify the version number 1. When it had the 440 in it, when it was completely raw, to me, that was the ultimate. What we initially did off-roading the thing was the key. And my favorite clip on that car is, in fact, the very last scene of the very last episode, my favorite episode of Roadkill, when we built the General Mayhem and we took the thing on dirt right here.
Oh, shit, Sway.
Yeah. Man, this is making me sad. This is just the greatest. Look at that thing.
Dude, it's a rad car. Off into the sunset.
That's the shot right there that made me pick this clip. Our longest build of all time.
Is it?
Oh yeah, remember how we would like start working on the thing and then stop and then have to do Hot Rod Magazine, and it literally took 6 months. We took it to Rob Canan's driveway and put ATF all over the thing and then left it at his house for 4 months. It took forever to build that car. But meanwhile, happier memories. What's your favorite clip of the General Mayhem?
Dirtfish.
Well, wait a minute. We took it to Dirtfish twice. Once with the 440 in the Subaru episode, and a second time in episode 74 for the Project Car Shootout.
Yeah, but the second time it had already been lowered and had the drag suspension, and it just wasn't the same car. Like, it also had 700 horsepower, which was virtually uncontrollable the second time there. No, I still maintain the most fun you can have is with a low-powered rear-wheel drive muscle car and put it on gravel. It's amazing.
Yep, let's check it out. Oh, this is gonna be fun.
track is so cool.
Whoa! Oh, yeah! Yeah! This might have been our greatest single day ever. Dude, this is good!
Being stuck in gear, second gear was great because you'd lift off the throttle to go into a corner and it immediately dragged the back tires and made the back end slide around corners.
No one does this with 68 Chargers anymore. Oh!
It looks and sounds like we're the Duke boys. This corner was amazing.
Oh, man. That was the pinnacle right there. Can't deny it.
That's as good as it gets. We want to move on to number 4, though?
I don't. I want to watch that 3 or 4 more times. What is the deal with that car right now? I think it's in perfect running and driving condition. You didn't, like, ruin it on some show I don't know about, did you?
No, I wouldn't do that. To that car. All the other ones, yeah, I'm trashing all of them.
Yeah.
I drove it last, I think. It's got a little scuff on the front bumper from a wall that somebody just threw out in the middle of a road.
That was some crazy burnout action with the General Mayhem. Finnegan actually just barely kissed the wall.
There you go, Finnegan. Oh, he hit the wall. So Mike Finnegan, basically in the same spot that Rawlings crunched the wall last year.
Man, thanks for bringing up the whole crashing into the wall thing. I'd nearly forgotten about it. That would be a horrible failure of mine if I didn't remember that one until the end of time. Oh, Finnegan hit the wall in General Mayhem. But yeah, let's hit it. Number 4 on the list. Landing at number 4 is the muscle truck. A 1974 Chevy C10 that I built way back before Roadkill. I got it for $1,500 with a completely restored frame and then ruined it with a bad C-notch job, airbags, my first LS swap with an all-aluminum LS6, Turbo 400, Gear Vendors Overdrive, and a 9-inch from a junk Ford truck. The muscle truck's first Roadkill episode was 18, where we rode mini bikes and raced it at an 8th-mile drag strip, but the only thing people remember from that episode is me crashing the mini bike.
This one look good? Oh!
I guess that episode also has Finnegan's famous comment on the truck's killer exhaust note.
Allow me to play for you the music of my people.
In episode 28, I lived a long-held dream of taking off the step-side fenders,
She's free.
hacking the front, adding Super Swamper boggers, and going out for some sand dune blasting. The sand was epic, but the next deal proved even more memorable. In episode 36, we towed a boat to a lake, removed the truck's engine, installed it in the boat, went boating for half an hour, and then put the engine back into the truck, towed it home, and executed the ultimate trailer burnout. It also inspired our Mopar muscle truck.
What are you doing here?
Beating you. And the Ford muscle truck. And of course, we wrapped the whole thing up with some more killer smoke shows from the one that's now known as the OG MT. Yep, the muscle truck lives. I love the muscle truck. I actually think it's our best vehicle in terms of driving anywhere, anytime, cruising it on the highway, being pretty fast at the drag strip, taking it on the sand dunes, and doing epic burnouts. The truck does it all. I love the sound, I love the shifter, I love barking tires in the thing. There's almost nothing bad about it.
Yeah, I gotta agree. It reminds me of the vet cart, but it's better. Like, you can go anywhere, do anything. It's not all that expensive, and it's really good at burnouts.
I mean, it's had a lot of staying power, and honestly, I think it's a truck that's influenced a lot of people to get into the C10 marketplace. It looks so fun to have that thing.
Yeah, for sure, dude. You can't go wrong with a square body.
when I was rewatching these things, I was laughing out loud at this clip of you hacking the fenders on the thing so that we could put big tires on it for the sand.
By here, Freiburger will be in tears. And by here, he'll be throwing tools. And then it's...
Too late now.
You were so bummed out.
Yeah, he's just gonna make a flange and Zeus it right back on. It'll be mint.
The sheer and utter disappointment.
I think we just took about 2,500 bucks off the value of it.
No wonder people watch this stupid show. That was awesome. That scene was hilarious and worth it, as I think we will see in your clip.
The come up from that right there is the hours of fun we had roosting the dunes in that truck. Watch this. If you both get stuck, you have to get out and run to the top of the hill, okay?
What? So everybody, you're looking at Fred Williams from Dirt Every Day in the Baja Bug, and me about to destroy him in the muscle truck.
Oh, you're really close. Go muscle truck.
First, second, third, neutral.
Oh, teaching Fred to drive the thing. I remember he was completely flummoxed by the shifter.
As soon as he figures it out, that thing takes off. Fred's not scared, though. He's getting after it.
Oh, here comes the jump. This was better in my memory than in reality, but check it out. Now watch the truck. That day at Glamis, if you remember, was actually proof of concept. We blasted that thing around, had some great action, and that's when I knew that the Super Swamper boggers actually were gonna work in sand and keep this truck moving. That was a riot.
So where is the truck now? Does it even run?
I have no idea where it is. It went to Saudi Arabia for a car show, and I haven't seen it since.
I love it.
So that's the greatest muscle truck ever. I don't know how we can improve from there, but we're gonna try as we move on to car number 3.
Number 3 on the list is my beloved Rotson. We originally picked up the 1971 Datsun 240Z from the same guys who sold us the Jaguar, Matt Ringer and Darren Moylan. Remarkably, we are still friends with them, even though the car is broken down on us 97 times.
This car, cursed.
It first let us down in episode 25 when the battery melted onto the header. That's not safe. Come on, baby, stay together. Next, we added a junkyard turbo to the 4.3-liter Chevy V6 and then broke a rear axle at the chassis dyno. We welded the axle back together, but then the car failed us at the autocross anyway. Our love for the Rotson has not diminished even after it overheated at the racetrack. We didn't kick it to the curb when the flywheel nearly fell off. The noise was coming from the flywheel falling off the back of the motor because somebody installed the bolts with zero Loctite.
Attaboy.
Rotson on track.
You have just reached the milestone of 24 seconds of Le Mans. Congratulations.
We even stayed up all night to repair a broken transmission at the 24 Hours of Lemons. It didn't want to go into third, then it didn't want to go into fourth. You can move the shifter, but that thing's stuck in 5th gear. No matter what it's done to us, we haven't given up on the car, but we did give up on that crappy 4.3-liter V6.
Okay, let her down.
Most recently, the Rotson gained a 5-liter Ford V8 in the name of reliability. It worked.
Yeah!
But then it started breaking axles again. But the problem with this car is because it has an independent rear suspension and weak axles, I can't hole shot this thing with a lot of horsepower. Otherwise, if the tires grip, it's just gonna destroy the stub axles on this thing. We fixed the axles, but then the car failed us anyway when it overheated and stranded us in Las Vegas. We are now actually overheating. That's 236 degrees and climbing. There's a lot of holes in this car that coolant could go through when this thing finally pops. Still the best day at work ever. I love the Rotson. It's the only car we have that is on a permanent weight loss program thanks to the rust. We're always breaking it, but it's punctuated by small moments of big speed. And for that, I have an endless affection for this thing. I hope it never goes away.
I don't hate the Rotson as much as you hate the Impala. It has its moments. It has its shining moments for sure. But I don't know why. It's just, I'm sick of working on it and having it not be that good, and it is such a pile of garbage. My favorite clip of this thing is like the shining moment of me driving it, which was when we did the Subaru episode and we blasted this thing around that old abandoned neighborhood, and that was a good time. Let's check that out.
3, 2, 1.
Wow, this thing's fast! See the hatch flying open? Oh, that's before we cut the hood for the 302. The hater pipe! The hater pipe was good, I gotta give you that.
The fence shot is money.
That was the shining moment for the Rotson in my eyes. It's gotten faster since then. It has not gotten better since then.
So my moment is less action, but it punctuates what this car really is it brings people together so they can have a group experience in failure and then just have a little bit of moment of goodness, you know, in there.
Kumbaya. Yeah, kumbaya.
Yeah. Watch this. Go, go, go.
Do it. Hit it.
We didn't know the crankshaft was broken in half. But we tried really hard to get it started. Lucas is the guy that built the roll cage. He hasn't turned a single lap, but he's suited up in 100-degree heat right now, hoping to drive the car.
Come on. No, do it.
The engine seized.
This is the genesis of Tony Breaks Everything, because he was driving when the crankshaft broke in half.
You're right. Let's do it in first.
So we've been up all night fixing the transmission. We kept moving our goal from like do the whole thing to do 24 hours, do 24 minutes, let's just do 24 laps. And this is the moment where we think we've totally failed every goal.
Well, that's because we just totally gave up right here. But then Jeff comes up with his iPhone, and he's been looking at live timing right from the track.
What am I looking at?
24 laps.
Oh, you're me.
What?
We did 24 laps already.
We did 24 laps!
24 laps already.
Yeah! 24 laps of lemons. Man, that is the key. You know how these days they say, oh, find your own truth? I say, find your own victory, which we just did. What's even the status of that car? Last I remember, we had overheated it to the moon and left it at the side of the road in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it probably needs head gaskets and, you know, a little bit of loving. Another 10 or 20 grand, she's good to go again.
Now, before we go to the very top of the list, into the top 2, I kind of want to go through some of the vehicles that, like, you and I both initially put on our top 10 list, but that didn't make the cut, but that are still pretty great. And I know one of them we both had was the Death Metal Charger.
I love that car. How do you not have fun with a car that a farmer built in the late 60s to go NASCAR racing, and then it gets shoved in a barn for 50 years, and we resurrect it and road trip it? I mean, I love that car. It's the closest I'll get to having a General Mayhem, I think.
The ones that were on my list, which I don't blame you for them not being on yours because they're kind of personal favorites, the Vanishing Paint Challenger, the Crop Duster, the Rampage was on there. I even had Macho Grande, our 73 GMC Suburban that we used to tow Blasphemy up to Oregon, which actually reminds me, what is the worst car that we have intentionally built? I know mine, and I think you're going to agree.
The most belligerent display of our poor engineering skills is probably the Colorado.
The worst.
It's a lot of fab work. It does not work at all. It sucks.
So it's unanimous. The most steaming turd in the history of roadkill is the Colorado pickup truck with the CAD 500 in the back. and now we're moving up to the good stuff, number 2. Dropping into a solid number 2 is Stubby Bob. Our 1950 Ford F6 dump truck with a supercharged Chevy 454 out back. It started out as a surprise. Finnegan bought the truck for an episode at his place, and I had no idea what it was gonna be. But I dug it, and we agreed to shorten the chassis for a cool look. It still had the stock drivetrain in it with a flathead Ford V8 and a non-synchro 4-speed that Finnegan couldn't drive to save his life. Oh! In the first episode, we failed to actually finish the thing, so Bob's first appearance as a finished runner was in episode 50, our Project Car shootout.
Please don't blow up the flathead.
No promises.
It was fun, but uneventful on the autocross. However, it did throw gas everywhere.
Oh, I smell gas. It handles all right.
I saw that. I was kind of surprised.
The big deal came in episode 52. We planned to install a blown big block, but it wouldn't fit under the hood, and I had the idea to put it out back.
And we are gonna put this thing right here and pray for wheelies.
Once we had mounted a blown 454, the Gearstar 4L80 transmission, a V-drive stolen from a friend's van, and those zoomy headers, we knew we had created greatness.
Check that out.
Oh my God.
See? It's actually...
I feel like when we put the Hemi in the 55, this is that good.
That's the angle the truck would be. Imagine this is the ground and that's the truck. That's not vertical. That's totally doable, right?
At first, we just did some small wheelies for a little distance. But then came Roadkill's greatest moment, when I got out and Finnegan stood that thing up straight onto the rear bumper. We had a wheelie machine. And then came episode 72, one of the most grueling episodes ever, when Mike and Tony Angelo did a bunch of work to the suspension, added a roll bar and even wheelie bars. One of the most heroic parts of the episode to me was when Tony and Mike drove it on the highway all the way north to Eagle Field in California, especially when they had to stop and fix the timing chain at the side of the road. And then the wheelie attempts began. Oh, no. And ended.
Oh my God.
At this point, you cannot believe the level of fail.
Come on! What the?
Followed by victory.
We will do wheelies.
We will do wheelies.
Followed by devastation.
You gotta be kidding me.
Followed by win. It's pure classic Roadkill. It's that stick-to-itiveness, it's that never say die that absolutely defines who we are and what we do. That moment when we made it wheelie for the very first time, I watched it the other day and it still just gives me chills that we pulled it off.
That's one of the few things we've ever engineered and it delivered. And I didn't think it had a hope of ever delivering a wheelie like that. I really didn't.
I knew it would wheelie. I didn't think it would do what it absolutely did. And so let's just go straight into my clip. I had to pick it. Actually, I'll give that back. You've got the greatest clip ever. Mine's the second greatest clip ever, which is the first time that we did it in the first episode with Stubby Bob doing the wheelie. Here goes. Yeah! That is incredible.
For us, this was like putting a man on the moon, dude.
It was. Yes! Yes!
That's my first ever legit wheelie in my entire life. And when it happened, I wasn't expecting it. And when the trailer hitch hits the ground, it actually threw me forward and my foot came off the gas pedal. And it was like falling out of a 2-story building.
That is just one of the greatest moments of all time in anybody's life. I don't care who you are.
Dude, you dragged that hitch so far! Wow! That was amazing.
As we remember all these fantastic moments, actually, you know, going through a show like this, I remember why our life is so great. All of this stuff that we've seen over these past 9 cars, we've got it really, really good.
I'm also reminded why I'm sore every morning when I wake up. Stuff like that right there. And this tops that. Wait till you see this next clip of wheeling.
4 wheels up.
Look at that.
All 4 in the back. And it breaks.
It tacoed the front end, dude. Oh my God! I don't want to say it, but apparently, once again, Tony breaks everything. There's a brand new axle we put in there and it just tacoed it.
Yeah, shocker. You put a light-duty thing that wouldn't hold up a Model A. What did you think was gonna happen?
What did you do?
I don't think it liked the 2-3 shift. We did some kick-ass wheelies.
Dude, we did.
Oh my God.
We did.
So that right there is clearly one of the top 5 greatest Roadkill episodes of all time. I'm not in it, I can still say that. The struggle from you guys actually driving it on the highway up there and then breaking it like what? You broke a yoke, then you broke the drive shaft, and you just kept fighting. You didn't care how much you were killing the crew at all, and you ended up having just glorious wheel stands. I gotta hand you and Tony all the credit for that. It was amazing. However, now that I've praised you, I gotta say, seriously, that front axle was a stupid decision. There's no way it was ever gonna survive, and you ruined the look of the truck with those stupid front wheels.
I mean, I agree with you about the wheels. The wheels were all wrong. The axle, I don't know, that was what we could get our hands on, and it was fine until Tony drove it, so.
Yeah, let's blame him. You know what? It's sitting in our warehouse, our new warehouse with like a roof and everything, so engines don't get destroyed anymore. That's where it is.
Oh, all right, well, that's good.
I think if that thing ever comes back, we're both committed to a long travel front end, and the whole goal would have to be figuring out how to make it do wheelies over and over and over and land and not kill you and actually survive with the truck itself.
That'd be cool.
That's probably something that we should do, is actually fix Stubby Bob.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I built you up, heaping you with praise for that amazing episode. I brought you down by bashing the axle and the wheel, and now I'm gonna serve up the ego once again as we move on to car number 1.
The top of the heap, our favorite car on this list is Blasphemy. This blown 528 cubic inch Hemi-powered 55 Chevy Bel Air began life as a beat-up, rusty shell that we bought out of a backyard for $2,300 bucks. Ultimately, we turned this Hulk into a stick-shift, straight-axle, 8-second street car.
Woo! We literally can't go any faster in our class, in our car. Hell yeah, that's amazing.
We've wrenched on this car more than any other in the Roadkill fleet and had more success than all of the other Roadkill cars combined.
That's a good start. 875 at 159 miles an hour.
Turning the car into a gasser, similar to the 2-lane blacktop movie car, was a dream of mine. And it's been a roller coaster ride ever since the day we hauled the bare shell up to Jim Meyer Racing in Oregon and set it onto his tube chassis. The year-long build culminated in a cross-country road trip to Hot Rod Power Tour, and since then, I've continued to refine the combo of parts. Blasphemy has rewarded us with race wins. We beat a Hellcat at Roadkill Takes America. We beat the Hoonigans in an NHRA grudge match for beards. We ran the quickest pass ever in any Roadkill car during Hot Rod Drag Week when we went 8:52 in the quarter and won the A-Gas class. As great as Blasphemy has become, it's still definitely a Roadkill car because more often than not, it won't leave the starting line due to the broken gas gauge and not enough fuel in the tank.
Okay, Mike, first of all, cheers.
Cheers.
Congratulations on so many roadkills, and of course, for having what I honestly believe is the single best roadkill vehicle ever. So sit back, have a beer, and be heaped with praise while I actually explain why I think this is legitimately the greatest. There you go. So basically, you've done with that car what I never would have, which is the thing of sticking with it year after year. I've always said that nobody can ever have a successful drag racing car by just slamming it together and hitting the track with it. It's always a process, and you've done nothing but make that car better and better and better over the years. And if you look at the first episode with Blasphemy, your goal was 10s. And you showed up at Drag Week, one of the most brutal events anywhere, where you have to drive 1,000 miles, 5 tracks in 5 days, winning your class, running 852, and doing it with all the suffering. There is no better complete package or no more awesome car anywhere in the roadkill landscape. So once again, cheers to you. I love the Blasphemy, and I know the whole audience does as well.
Man, thank you. Man.
The point on the pin is when you and Tony won Drag Week with it, and at the end of that episode, when you were realizing it and celebrating it, I picked that as my greatest moment with Blasphemy.
Dude, so did I. So did I.
Done. We got no first gear. You want me first?
That's first.
All right, I got this. It's off. All right. All right.
We'll fix it. We'll fix it.
Yep. Very clearly, first gear has exploded and is sitting in the case.
Tony already knew what the inside of that trans looked like. So he was like, we got this. We're gonna do this, this, and this, and it'll be fine. And I was like, okay, so we're doing this, this, and this, and dude, it worked. It absolutely worked, you know?
There we go. Now it's in. All right, hold on. It's gonna take 2 of us. I gotta get the bearing lined up. And this is gonna be difficult because I can't see on the wrong side.
The moment that Tony bench pressed the transmission, I don't think I would have been that guy. I could have gone through everything else, but at that moment, I probably would have been out. And Tony made that happen, so cheers to Tony as well.
You're almost there. Back down a little bit. That's it.
You're an animal, dude. You're an animal.
We don't sell this car at auction. We're gonna lose this job.
It's the only Roadkill episode I've watched more than once. My kids love that episode. It will sit there and say, I want to watch the Blasphemy race. And we've watched it dozens of times, man. And I love hearing you announce, you know, not just Blasphemy, but that whole thing. It was cool for me. It really was.
Finnegan just locked it up. He is your winner for A gas at the 15th annual Hot Rod Magazine Drag Week. Tony Angelo on the starting line, losing his mind.
Woo! Holy crap! That was a wheelie! Oh my God! Yeah, that was insane! Are you kidding? Oh my God, I love you right now. Yeah! Did you see that wheelie? It was nuts! Oh my God! What a man! Oh my God, did you see that wheelie? Oh my God. Car went like this. Yeah! It was wild. We won Drag Week! Woo! Woo!
So, once again, there you go. Fantastic moment.
Yeah, cheers.
One of the greatest things ever. That's the end of the first stay-at-home episode of Roadkill. Hopefully, we're out of the pandemic and we're making regular episodes again. You want to follow us on social media? It is at Roadkill Show on both Facebook and Instagram. And on Instagram and Facebook, I am at David Freiburger. He is at Finnegan999. So that's it. Cheers from the Roadkill stay-at-home crew. Woo. Stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody.
You know what is glorious, though, is looking at everything that we have done over the past 9 years. I feel so lucky to be able to do what we do for a living, but especially I want to thank all of the crew members who've worked the cameras, the set, behind the scenes. If you think, there's got to be, I don't know, 50 people over the years who have worked on this show, and I appreciate the life that every single one of them has put into everything that you just watched right now. And of course, I have to thank the fans also, because we assemble this junk, but the people who make the cars actually popular and make them live forever are the fans.
This was amazing. Thanks for watching Roadkill.
take you somewhere so you know I care. But it's so cold and I don't know where. I brought you daffodils on a pretty string, but they won't fly like they did last spring. And I wanna kiss you, make you feel alright. I'm just so tired to share my nights. I wanna cry and I wanna love, but all my tears have been used up on another love, another love. All my tears have been used up on another love, another love. All my tears have been used up on another love, another love. All my tears have been used up. And if somebody hurts you, I wanna fight, but my hand's been broken one too many times. So I'll use my voice, I'll be so fucking rude. Words they always win, but I know I lose. And I would sing a song that would be just us, but I sang them all to another heart. And I wanna cry, I wanna learn to love, but all my tears have been used up on another love, another love. All my tears have been used up on another love, another love. All my tears have been used up on another love, another love. All my tears have been used up.
This time on Roadkill, can we rebuild the top end of a Mini before Freiburger can put an entire small block Chevy together?
It's another Roadkill working from home. And I'm building an engine with leftover parts. Ready?
Yeah! Yeehaw! Oh, there we go! Oh, yeah, baby, there we go! You like them spinning 20s?
Hey, it's Freiburger here, and this is going to be the quarantine episode of Roadkill, where both Finnegan and I are completely by ourselves in our home garages. That didn't work very well. Going again. I'm responsible for filming on my iPhone, setting up the audio, dealing with the lighting, being my own production assistant, the whole shebang. Okay, editor's note. This is going to be the very start of the Freiburger part of the program. Oh, I never started the audio. So forgive the quality. It's not going to be up to your normal standards. But hey, Roadkill. Oh, this is killing me.
Well, here we go again. Roadkill working from home. I'm like in my garage, you're in your garage. We're gonna make this happen.
This is very strange. We're not together working on cars.
Together but separate.
Yeah, social distancing.
We are socially distanced by about 3,000 miles.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
This short block right here has been sitting around. Actually, it was in your shop for years. Remember we tried to sell it for like 1,800 bucks with heads and everything, and no one wanted it?
Dude, you want to know what's funny is I watched the Roadkill episode yesterday and saw that motor sitting on the floor of my shop in the corner by the door.
I noticed that as well. But then after that, it got all parted out into a million pieces for engine masters. And I forget, I stole the oil pan for something else. And so it's nothing but a short block. It hasn't actually run since 2008. And I'm going to try and make it a complete fire-upable engine using almost nothing but leftover junk from my treasure trove in my garage.
Oh, you have a great garage. Like, I bet there's at least 4 or 5 different sets of heads you can choose from and 9 camshafts. Like,
I have like 5 sets of heads right there. So it's pretty cool. What are you working on?
Look behind me. That's not what I'm working on. That's what I have to get out of the garage to get to the project that I'm working on. Do you remember that?
The blower is new?
Yeah, this is the green ramp truck that I traded Big Red for. Newburn and I are just putting a supercharger on it to make me feel better about how crappy the truck is. We're gonna push this outside, and then we're gonna bring in the Toyota mini truck that I bought during the Torino wagon episode. We had speed parts for that with us from LC Engineering. We have a ported head, a camshaft, a header, all these parts that we can put on there and hopefully in a couple of days make this thing do burnouts again. And in the summer, maybe go back to a drag strip and see if we can do better than our 18-second quarter-mile time.
Wow, that's a lot. I don't know how you're gonna get that done.
Newburn, he's here.
Oh, okay. Then I have complete faith.
Well, good luck, and I don't know, I'll check in with you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. I'm gonna go degree the cam on this turd.
All right, good luck.
My job on this episode is to see if I can make this engine run by the end of the show using mostly parts that are just left over from my stash. Let's look at our baby here to see what we've got to start with. It's a 350 small block, just a stock block. It's 30 over, which I only knew because I wiped off the piston and handily it had the part number on it right there. I thought it was 60 thousandths overbore, so 30 is good news. And by that part number, it reminded me that it has a probe forged piston in it with a 3cc dome. And that's interesting because what it means is this thing's gonna have about 11:1 compression, which sets the tone for the rest of the build, which is pretty cool. Other than that, it's pretty stock. It's got a 3.48 stroke stock cast 350 Chevy crank. You can see it's got some aftermarket H-beam rods in it with good bolts, stock bolts on the main, still has an oil pump on it. Paint's pretty clean. Here's a question a bunch of people have asked, which is, what is this orange stuff? Why did you paint the inside of the block? I guess that's an old man, old school trick. This is a product called Glipdol, and the theory behind it is that it makes the inside of the block slicker so that oil returns to the pan faster. I remember reading and maybe even writing in magazines in the past that it also seals the casting so sand can't escape from the iron. I think that's bogus. I haven't done it to an engine since this one, so that's how much I care.
This is a 1985 Toyota, which in 85, Toyota really didn't have a name. Some people call them Hiluxes, some people call them pickups. And I bought this from my friend Alex Anderson. He sold it to me, and I had it transported to Texas, where a Cummins swap Torino wagon was waiting for Tony Angelo and I. And last year, you saw this thing go head-to-head with that wagon and win. One time. It ran 18 flat, I think at 68 miles an hour, something like that in the quarter mile. And we're going to try to improve upon that today.
How much power is all these upgrades supposed to give us here?
I think this thing will make about 140, 150 horsepower. So 50% more power.
I legit don't know what's the intake and what's the exhaust. This must be the exhaust, right?
All right, we have a medium lift cam and a ported cylinder head from LC Engineering going on our hot rod mini truck.
And we don't know which side is the intake or the exhaust.
But I'm sure if we stare at it long enough and play detective, we'll figure it out. So near as I can tell, there are only 3 aftermarket parts on this engine. It's got a Hedman header, an LC Engineering recurved distributor, and dual Weber carburetors. The rest of this thing is stock. The carburetors are definitely loose. That's the vacuum leak right there. Everything is loose. I just unbolted it from the head, and I'm now taking it out of the truck. I never touched this hardware. There just weren't any nuts on it, so.
Ugh, dude.
Hey.
That is sludge mixed with...
Let's just call it condensation. I don't want to call it water.
It's a lot of condensation.
Look at that, dude.
The chocolate milkshake. Guess what? We roadkilled the Yoda. Bad news is we forgot to push the button on the camera the whole time. Oh, man. No footage. This looks remarkably easy, right? I think the rocker stand bolts are the head bolts. So it's just disconnect the bolt here to get the timing chain gear off. And then I think rockers come off, cam comes out, and then, dude, the head comes off. I'm sure we can get that with a magnet after the head's off. Cylinder head is almost ready to come off, which is good because I just dropped the timing chain down into the crankcase. Oh my goodness. Dude. Oh God, it looks like you're twisting it. Oh, dude. So you're pulling the lever, but it is no longer turning. Oh my God. Dude, I thought for sure this thing is gonna snap in half. I'm surprised the damn socket ain't broke. There we go, there we go. We got a ridge from like 200,000 miles. It doesn't have a ridge at all. Could have broke one of these things, whatever that is. I think that's the timing chain adjuster.
Man, it's finally an awesome day. I'm gonna roll this 350 outside and clean it up. Oh man, that was a bad idea. It is hot out there. And we now know that this thing turns over freely. Not that I expected that it wouldn't, but it's good to know that we haven't ruined yet another engine. This thing's pretty good. All right, more cleanup. Last thing I'm gonna do here is just wipe some clean motor oil on all the cylinders, get the last bit of grit out of them, lubricate the cylinder wall, get some oil on the rings. We're ready to move on. Whew, hot. Now it gets fun because we can start adding speed parts. So even before the episode started, I kind of rifled my big stack of camshafts. This cam actually was purchased for Engine Masters, I don't know, a little while ago, and it was supposed to go in our 383 and didn't. And so we're gonna use it, and I'll tell you what it is. But the key to being able to use it was me being able to find these used comp cams solid roller lifters. Remember, this thing has 11:1 compression or thereabouts. We'll figure that out later. Well, that means I can put a stout camshaft in it with solid roller. So here's what we got. This thing is duration at 50,000 tappet lift, 242, 248. The lift, 570, 576, and a lobe separation angle of 110. So man, it's gonna be stout. The other stuff that I got here, I found this package of ARP bolts, 2 cam bolts, so I'll have to dig up something else. This is something I had to buy, a cam button, and I started to come up with this timing chain right here. In fact, the gear's already on the engine, but then I found this Lunati set, and I suspect it's better, but I haven't even opened it yet. Oh, this is one of the adjustable cam timing ones. Yep, made in USA. That's what we're gonna be using right there. All right. This is awesome. I've already stabbed the camshaft, so let's hook it up and degree this thing.
Day 2, and the mini truck is partially stripped. We got a cylinder head off yesterday, and a bunch of the wiring and the plumbing disconnected. Found a few things we, thought were a little suspect, like half the bolts on the truck were loose. Today, though, we have to get the radiator out and the front accessories off the front of the motor to get the timing cover off so that we can change the timing set, which, like I said yesterday, I dropped the chain in there anyway, so we needed a way to get it out. So it's probably a good idea we're changing it. Let's go. Well, the mini truck is blown apart. We have the old cylinder head off. We've discovered some of the things that were wrong with the engine. Lots of sludge in there, but we have cleaned everything. This is LC's remanufactured cylinder head. This is called a stage 2 cylinder head. And what that means is it is ported both on the exhaust side and the intake side. It has oversized stainless steel valves. The intake and exhaust valves are a 0.5 millimeter bigger than stock. We have pro dual valve springs, new retainers, and a camshaft that has over 30 degrees more duration on the intake side, about 20 on the exhaust. It has 60 thousandths more lift than the stock cam. This all adds up to a head that flows about 40 CFM more than stock, which is a ton in a small engine like this. We're gonna put that on top after installing an OSK timing set. This is better for a number of reasons. First off, the guides and chains tensioners are metal, unlike the plastic ones that tend to break. We have a new adjustable LC Engineering upper cam gear, so we could advance the cam timing if we want. New timing chain, all that's gonna go in next before the head. We're gonna keep the carb and intake setup that's already on here. These are aftermarket Weber carburetors. These are perfect for this build. We're going to install this brand new clutch kit and flywheel. And the last thing we're gonna do is gonna swap out our old Headman shorty header for this long tube style header. Hopefully this fits. If it doesn't, we'll modify it or something.
Well, here we go with a part of an engine build that I procrastinate on the most. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't do this at all, except for that you are watching. Yes, I am going to degree the camshaft. Here's a bit of awesome news. Remember my cam bolts, where there was only 2 of them? I rifled through my epic magic bolt box and actually found the other one, which is kind of hard to believe. That's not very roadkill. I've been fiddling for about 45 minutes with this tool, trying to make it work, and it's not gonna happen. I've been trying to get this magnetic base all aligned on here and get that stick to ride right on the top of the lifter right there, and it just doesn't work. I gotta tell you, my temptation was to give up and use the regular old timing chain, line up the dots, but instead, I'm gonna dulcich it out. And what that means is figuring out how to make this work with the junk I've got laying around. Here's what I made to solve the lifter measuring problem. Custom. So here's the solid roller lifter. Here's a socket that I had to grind with the bench grinder in order to perfectly stand up straight when it pulled up against this part of the lifter. And then I was able to hose clamp it in place. And then this is a testing push rod that's only about that long that I was able to slip in there, perfectly center it at the bottom in the cup and tape it around there so that it has no wiggle in it at all. Dialed. So here we go. Well, after a lot of agonizing, I finally finished degreeing the camshaft, and I did it the right way with the intake centerline method. It's in at 106.75. They call for 106. That is definitely close to good enough. Now, my next task is to adjust camshaft end play. Now, to do that, I've got to have a front cover on there for the cam button, so I went rifling through my stash and found these. So which one will I use? Will it be this one? No, because chrome. Will it be this one? No, because filthy. Will it be this one? Yes, because trick. This one has been in my garage for roughly 20 years. We're finally gonna use it. Here we go. There's some of my gasket collection. I need a front cover gasket. There's a small block valve cover gasket. It's a big block timing gasket. Wait, that's it. Got it. I was starting to get concerned. All right, now we can move on and install that front cover and set the camshaft end play, but you do need the gasket in order to do that. Well, I went through all the fitment for the front cover and the cam end play, and I think I've got it just right, but then, in the middle of it, I broke the tail off this old gasket. I know, it boggles the mind, but I only had one small block Chevy timing chain cover gasket, and I broke it because it's really old and brittle. So we're actually gonna tape it back together using regular old household tape because it's nice and thin. Last night, I gave up after about 45 minutes trying to find a front cover seal. I may not have one, but I do have another storage unit. So we're gonna hop in my Dodge and go over there. Welcome to my 1999 Dodge 2500 4x4 that I custom ordered brand new with a V10 engine and a 5-speed, making it pretty unique. Basically, I just use it for parts running, towing, hauling engines, running over to my storage unit to find a seal, stuff like that. He enters with no front cover seal. Will he emerge with one? Let's find out. Boom! All kinds of stuff. I'm back, armed with more gaskets than expected, and importantly, the front seal. Just gonna go right there. All right, front cover is done. We're moving on to the oil pan. The pan's all cleaned up. I found some fasteners after rifling through an old box over there, and I'm finally ready to install this. I can't wait. It's gonna be a short block, right now. Well, as soon as I install the bolts. More decision time, this time dampers. First of all, I found a brand new Milodon damper bolt. And if you think I'm faking this, explain the dust on this thing. It's been sitting around for 20 years. First of all, I've got the Professional Products Cheap Chinese damper. Second of all, I found an ATI super damper left over from my Bonneville car. And third of all, I've got the slightly less affordable but probably better Australian-made Pioneer damper right here with the timing marks on it. Now, if you chose the Pioneer damper, we got some kind of Vulcan mind melt going on because that's the one I'm gonna use.
Say hi to Newbert.
Hey, Dave.
Ooh, I see cylinder heads.
Oh yeah, I got plenty of heads. I'm a little bit behind schedule though.
Oh, me too. That's great.
It's perfect.
I've done nothing but clean and disassemble and acquaint myself with the mini truck. It's been nonstop like, oh, look, there's not a single nut holding the collector to the downpipe of the header. Or, hey, the carburetors were falling off and that's why it had a vacuum leak. It's been amazing, let me tell you.
So it's roadkill even though it's work from home roadkill. The thing that's been slowing me down like crazy is actually having to shoot everything on the phone by myself. Like all of these lights and everything that we've got going on, all of the tripods, and I'm basically working in the space of a one-car garage. And so look, I have to set all that stuff up every time, shoot all the B-roll and everything, but at least there's my engine. It's got a front cover, it's got a cam, it's degreed, it's got a damper, it's got the oil pan. So I'm working on cylinder heads now. I'm gonna change valve springs and stuff.
A decision I made early on with this is kind of biting me, and it was the decision to leave the engine in the truck because we're about to install a new camshaft in this thing, and I'd like to degree it, but I have one of those giant comp cams degree wheels. I don't think it'll fit between the frame rails of the truck. This is why I decided to work on it in the truck, because it's so tiny.
Let me tell you what I swore was gonna happen, which was you guys were gonna be way ahead because you've got two guys working on it, and you were gonna call me and look at my engine and say, what, you don't have that thing running yet? But I think you got no room for that kind of statement at this point.
When I first saw the small block today, I thought, wow, he only got the timing cover put on it.
Perfect. All right, well, good luck to you guys. I guess we're gonna be doing some of the same stuff. At this point, I think it's a race. I'm gonna have heads on my junk tonight, and I've got twice as many of them.
Okay, so race is on then. We will give it our best shot.
Well, my engine test stand arrived today, and apparently it needs to be completely assembled, so that's gonna back me up a little bit. But I'm on track, so I guess we'll see you guys in a few days, and I hope I'm firing the thing up when I see you next.
All right, good luck.
They say timing is everything, and we're gonna attempt to the best of our ability here in the garage to get the timing between the crankshaft and the camshaft perfect. And the key to all that, or at least the first step, is to put the engine at top dead center on the #1 cylinder. Is it gonna clear the alternator? By a little bit, it looks like it will. We just found top dead center on the motor, use a degree wheel, the whole deal, so we know it's accurate, and about ready to start putting our new timing set in. It's got a hydraulic chain tensioner right here, and that bolts to the front of the block here, and when we removed it to install the new one,
just sludge started coming out of the engine again. Not everything has gone right. First off, we found sludge in the valve cover, and then we found sludge in the motor. And we were wondering why that was until we pulled the head off and saw the head gasket, and the head gasket was not happy. 2 of the head bolts didn't want to come out because they weren't happy. These go right between 2 exhaust ports. That's where the head gasket was blown. Who knows how many miles? These were getting superheated and the threads are wasted. Ordered head bolts, those won't be here for another day and a half, so we're kind of stuck there. Then we're like, we'll move on to something else. And it was at that moment we noticed there is not quite radiating the way it should be, probably because, I don't know, that shouldn't just fall out like that. Now we need a radiator. So I think today, when my kids aren't making a lot of noise upstairs, we'll put a clutch in. That's about all we can do at this point. And the clutch is gonna go, it's just gonna fall in. Like I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna go like that. It's gonna be fine, trust me.
So, as I stand here with a nice refreshing cola, eating my delectable peanut butter and olive burrito, I've been reflecting on the progress the last few days. So, I've been working on this for 4 days, on what is arguably a 1.5 to 2 day job, if you didn't have to be the cameraman and the gaffer and the production assistant and the director and all those other things. And so I've been thinking about what's going on with Finnegan and Newburn, and earlier, I really thought they were gonna be cranking on that Toyota and they were gonna be way ahead of me and making fun of me, but now I realize they have a lot to do. I'm actually thinking that I could beat them in the race to having a running engine. Now, I'm not gonna tell them that because I'm not that confident, but I am gonna buckle down and get this thing going. We're gonna get cylinder heads on this thing today. We're gonna measure up push rods and move on to the always glorious induction program. Let's go. I narrowed it down to 2 choices here. Both are aluminum heads. I had the Dart 215 intake runner as cast. I also had the Blueprint Engines 210 CNC ported, and it's that porting that put me over the edge. These cylinder heads are left over from episodes of Engine Masters where they were on our 383 forever, but they've got some components on them that are a problem, namely the studs and the valve springs, so I'm gonna walk you through what we're gonna do to fix that. First thing I'm gonna do here is use my LSM valve spring compressor, which is expensive, but awesome. The springs that are on this thing were set up for a hydraulic roller cam, and honestly, they weren't even that good for that. And so they need to go. Next, I have to do my valve spring pressure, which is easy with this tool from Comp Cams. You just squeeze it in a vise and you measure from the underside of the retainer, and you have to have the retainer in there, and you measure the overall height of the spring. And my installed height is 1.8 inches, which is the installed height on the cylinder head. So I make sure that the underside of the retainer to the tool is 1.8, and I read my pressure, 250 pounds. Now, the next thing you do is squeeze it by the amount of lift. So if it's 500 lift, you squeeze it another 500 thousandths of an inch and read the pressure there. We don't know what my lift is gonna be yet, or at least you don't. It's coming up later. One of the things I had to buy for this project is the correct spring seats right here, and they fit perfectly into that inner spring right there. So I'm gonna drop that seat down here on the valve. Then I'm gonna take my height mic and drop it on there. And next up, I need to take and drop in the exact same retainer and keepers or locks. And once those are installed, you can start spinning your height mic down. And I'm gonna turn this around to where you can see the scale right there. You gotta take up all the clearance you can. And you can see that our height here is almost 1/900. And I'm shooting for 1.8. So what I'm gonna have to do is take some shims right here and put them underneath that valve seat in order to take up room and squeeze that thing down to a 1/800. And I have to do that and check and check and check with every single one of these. Now here comes the cylinder head for the first time. Right there. We're ready to drop in a pair of lifters. This is just for mock-up. There we go. I got the lifter in, I've got the rocker arm studs threaded in, and now I can put in my checking length push rod. See how it's threadable so that I can make it the right length. We're rigged up for valve to piston clearance. I've got the intake valve at 10 degrees after top dead center, which is where the valve is closest to the piston. And you can see right now it's zeroed out. And if I push this down until the valve touches the piston, you can see that I've got 100 thousandths and right there, 165 thousandths at the very closest point. That is plenty. We're gonna have 600 thousandths lift. Boom!
Good news, we got a tap. Yeah, this thing was hard to get. I've got 8 out of the 10 holes cleaned out already, and these are the 2 trouble holes right here. These were in between the exhaust ports, and I'm about to clean those out right now. Hopefully, we don't have any trouble. I can already feel the grit in there.
We are finally reinstalling the cylinder head and front timing chain and head gasket.
Can you reach over there?
Oh, I can.
There it is.
Gears, chain, lift the head up to get the cover on, right?
I watched a video on how to do this because I don't know jack squat about them, but I've built a tool that's gonna go in between this tensioner down here that's gonna keep the chain from dropping down, and that will allow us to pull the cam gear off, let it sit right here in the head. We're gonna pull the head up 1/4 of an inch, put the timing cover on, let the head drop back down, put the timing gear back on, and then move the spacer and pull out the tool, and you're good.
All right, I have spacer. I'll get spacer. Here's our piece of Teflon. You lift the head and the gasket, right? There we go. Okay. Gaskets are in, timing chain is in, timing cover is going on right now. And as soon as the cover is bolted snugly down, we'll pull the tool out and drop the head down. This feels like progress.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I feel good about it. Now we can start putting everything in.
All right. I ran into another little problem here. Can you even see me? Ran into a little problem here. Our engine came from the factory with a mechanical fuel pump, and it had an eccentric driven off the snout of the camshaft. And that eccentric was sandwiched between the snout of the cam and the gear that turned the distributor. Our new adjustable cam gear, that eccentric won't fit back on there. And so I have to modify it to put it back on there to get the spacing right. We don't even need this eccentric because the truck came with an aftermarket electric fuel pump. But again, we need the stack up to be right for all those parts to fit together and drive our distributor properly. So I'm about to cut this thing into pieces and just turn it into basically a washer and take the eccentric part off using the death wheel. Note the multiple layers of protection because, you know, it's called a death wheel for a reason. Here we go. I'll grind that flat with the flap disc. I'll round this with a disc sander and we'll be good to go.
That looked great, dude.
That's not bad, right?
Show the people at home how good that looks. Like, you did a really good job on that.
Well, thank you.
This is like the greatest tale of fortune in the history of Roadkill. You're not even gonna believe it. It's all about the valve train, and I was freaking out about this because I needed to find rocker arms, studs that would work, and push rods of the right length. And the thing is, you normally, on any engine build, need custom length push rods unless everything is completely stock. And this actually worked. So the first problem that I had is that the new, thicker, better rocker arm studs that I have had too much thread on them. They bottomed out in the head and they wouldn't tighten up. Fortunately, I was able to find 16 hardened washers of the very same thickness to be able to go under them right there. Now, the dilemma that that brings about is that those washers are raising up that rocker arm stud so that it also raises the rocker arm and makes it less likely that I'm gonna find a push rod that'll work. So I got a 1:5 ratio rocker and I went in there with my adjustable length push rod and I found exactly what I needed. And then I made a giant discovery, a box of used 1.65-to-1 rocker arms. Unbelievable that I had that, unbelievable that I've got the valve to piston clearance for it, but then I went looking and I found push rods that were 8 inches long that ended up working perfectly with that and giving me a pattern on the end of the valve exactly like what I needed. So in the end, everything comes out hunky-dory. I know you guys don't even believe me that all this stuff's just sitting around and falling together like this, but trust me, it's been here forever and it is falling together into an engine. Now that I've figured out how to make all the magic happen, it's time to work. I'm gonna have to clean and torque in all of the pushrod guide plates and studs, aligning the rocker arms on the tips of the valves, and clean up all the rocker arms, install all the lifters, install all the push rods, and then lash all the valves. It's gonna be a while, but man, home stretch. I think the grueling work is over. I've got all of the valves lashed. This thing is a long block ready for the trick intake manifold and valve covers. That part's gonna be fun. Wait for it. But first, I want to pre-lube this thing and make sure it has oil pressure and that oil's getting up to the rocker arms. I'm gonna get electric drill on this thing. Here's a sobering thought. Why did I actually take this engine apart? I never really checked the bottom end. Is there something wrong with it that I don't remember? It's actually possible, because I hooked up the cordless drill and it got no oil pressure. Let's see what this Widowmaker can do. Officially concerned. I didn't hear it hit. Starting to get some here. Oh yeah, okay, we're gonna be good. Whew! Director Brad just called me and warned me that Finnegan and Newbern are going to be calling me for a video conference soon. Unfortunately, they have to give us warning on that because those guys have to like set up the video conference recording and all this stuff. But apparently they're having some kind of trouble with the truck. I don't know exactly what. So what I want to do is set it all up in here to make it look like I'm done. So I'm going to move all these movie lights out of the way, roll the engine over there, and mock it up with an intake and valve covers for the first time. Haha. Complete. Okay, I think that worked pretty good. I think those guys might believe me if I wipe that thing off. Hey guys, what's going on?
Oh, the usual, you know, parts that don't fit. Bought a truck with a blown head gasket again. Imagine that.
No.
Let me show you. Yeah. This is good. You'll like this. The first clue that we might have a problem was the sludge-filled valve cover. And then we pulled the head, and the head gasket was ungood right here.
Yep.
Yeah, there and there. So we ordered new head bolts. Can't get those until Friday, so that slowed us down. Today, we were looking at some of the other parts we have, including this radiator. You know, the radiator looks not good, but it just keeps getting better when you realize you can remove entire sections of it and just throw it on the floor.
I've seen it all, and I have never seen that one before. That is awesome.
Yeah, she's custom. You know, it's a show truck. I don't know. Maybe we'll try to slam a clutch in this thing today, because that's about all we can do.
Well, and meanwhile, boom.
Oh, man.
It's like done.
He's way ahead.
Oh, no, there's no plug wires on it.
Yeah, there's no plug wires, distributor isn't timed, I don't have headers, I don't have a water pump. It needs a few adjustments here and there.
We have half the engine, twice the manpower, and yet he's still way ahead.
Remember, I still have to build an entire engine test stand and make that happen as well.
Yeah, we'll definitely catch you then. What's that going to take? 20 minutes? All right, well, good luck. Call us again, you know, when spark plug wire number 1 doesn't quite match number 2 in terms of length, and you got to go back and start over. And yeah, let us know that the struggle is real.
Yeah, you guys are having trouble. Sorry, not sorry. All right, see you later.
All right, good luck. See ya.
I think I fooled those guys. I could tell that they were looking at the engine in disappointment. They realized it was almost as average as like a Toyota mini truck. But I fooled them. And so right now is when I'm gonna go pick the actual intake manifold for this thing. And I have a lot to choose from. I'm gonna let you in on it. Check this out. Another Wyand intake, this one black. This combination actually looks pretty good. Matches the oil pan and the damper, the whole blackout treatment. It's a factory black Wyand Super Warrior, factory black QFT carburetor. Kind of gauche to combine the Wyand intake manifold with the Edelbrock valve covers though. One of many reasons this has got to go. Now, let's move on with an actual Edelbrock intake manifold to match the Edelbrock valve covers and a Holley carburetor. This isn't bad, looking a little bit more racy, although these valve covers do not match at all. However, the Victor Jr. Edelbrock single plane intake manifold probably is the one that I would recommend for this general application, but we can get even racier. Now we're really looking racy. That is an Edelbrock Super Victor intake manifold, even taller, even gnarlier, even more racy, and looking good with the cast aluminum valve covers. But we got two problems here. First of all, Dart valve covers, Edelbrock intake manifold, and not Dart heads. A social faux pas, you can't do it. But also, unfortunately, the Super Victor intake is so big and this engine is so small that it's a mismatch. I've seen it lose power on the dyno. So we're not gonna be using that, but we can solve the Dart problem. And let's spice it up a little bit with a nice Holley silver and blue 750 double pumper. This is what's called a cool can. It's a high-rise dual plane air gap style. I'm not gonna use a dual plane for this. If I was, you would want to use one of those or an Edelbrock RPM. But we're not gonna. Next, here we go. The Holley Tri-Power. Man, that's cool. Unfortunately, we proved on the Engine Masters show that this thing is only capable of supporting about 450 horsepower. So I knew I wasn't gonna use it. I just wanted to show it to you because it's rad. 3 Holley 2-barrel carburetors on a dual plane intake manifold. You can buy this as a package from Holley. And it's rad, but it's not gonna fly. Here we go. This is the Holley Stealth Ram. Yes, EFI, I know it's unlike me. However, it's just like a tunnel ram with a plenum top and a throttle valve. I really wanted to use this thing, genuinely, but unfortunately, there's no way I'm gonna get EFI to run tomorrow on an engine stand, maybe in the future, but let's go. The Stealth Ram reminds me of something else. Let's go. Oh, you guessed it, the Wyand Vintage Tunnel Ram. Here we go. QFT tunnel ram carburetors. I can make this linkage work. These are 2, I believe, 450 CFM 4 barrels, and they're meant specifically for tunnel ram applications. I don't like the silver finish, honestly, but it might be what we have to go with. But I can improve the look of the engine. Genuine, vintage, Moroso, stamped aluminum, blue anodized valve covers. That is mint. Red, white, and blue kind of, isn't it? Man, I'm just not sure that that's working with the carburetors and the red engine block. But wait, red Moroso valve covers. These are actually brand new and they're not aluminum, they're stamped steel, powder-coated red. You can buy them currently. And maybe a little bit of a clash on the engine block, I'm not sure. So there are my options, and I guess you're gonna have to find out what I decide to do here. I'm gonna have to pick some valve covers, and it's gonna be either the plain Holley silver ones, or the red Morosos, or the blue Morosos. And then the carburetors are gonna be either the gold ones or the silver ones, depending on what I can make work. Whew, that was a lot of work, but worth it.
Well, it's Friday. We've not gotten a lot done thus far, but we have head bolts. I left my house, which I haven't done much of in weeks, and I drove to a Toyota dealership and got factory OEM head bolts to replace our junk ones. And right now, we need to strip some parts off of our old cylinder head, bolt that stuff onto our ported LC Engineering head, and then put the intake on, hook up the exhaust, peel the rockers off this, clean those, peel the block off plates off this, clean those, and then go back to the truck and start installing parts, because these head bolts get torqued down through the rocker stands. And we've got to set valve lash and do all kinds of fun stuff.
We are now about to install our rocker shafts and then our head bolts. Like right now, we're on TDC on number 1, so we're on the base circle of the cam, so these aren't going to be actuated. but some of these other ones will be. And as we go to torque this down, it's going to probably be an issue for us.
All right.
All right, we are lubed.
Check it out. Brand new radiator. As you've seen earlier, the old one was falling apart, to say the least. So we got a brand new one from the parts store, and we're one step closer to making this thing run.
Before we finish the motor and fire it up, we need to set the valve lash because we have a totally different cam. So the adjusters on these adjustable rocker arms are totally backed out. We're looking for 7 thousandths of an inch lash on the intake and 11 thousandths on the exhaust. Lash is just a gap. It's a gap between the tip of the valve stem and the rocker arm. If there's no lash in there, when the engine is cold, it won't close and then stuff bends. The great thing about overhead cam motors is you can see the camshaft. So you set the lash when the rocker is on the base circle of the cam. So the valve is shut, the rocker's on the base circle, it's not trying to open the valve, that's when you set the lash. If you look at number 4 right now, although we're TDC on number 1, on cylinder number 4, that intake is starting to open. See that? So you can't move it. We can set number 1 intake and exhaust. We can set number 2 intake. Right now, we can set number 3 exhaust. This will go really fast, and then we'll just bar the motor over until the other ones are on the base circle and be good to go. I'm unfamiliar with all of this, but our carburetors were essentially not sealed to the base of the intake manifold, and because of that, there was a vacuum leak, which made it idle funny.
It's either like about to die or it's at 1500 RPM. So we're gonna fix that. All right, here we go.
We're getting to the end. This is exciting. I love putting shiny parts on crappy old cars. Put it on TDC on number 1, stab the distributor, put the valve cover on, hook up radiator hose, fluids, install the header.
Fire it up.
Break it in.
What?
Yeah.
Hey, check it out. We are officially tunnel rammed. Finally, we are down to it. It's carburetor time. This thing's gonna look like a complete engine. Magic fitting box may have been beaten unless these are it. Moment of truth. Whoa, did I actually get this right? Let's go with it. I'm gonna tighten those up, call it a day. Dude, the Magic Ignition box delivered. This is an MSD digital E-curve distributor. It doesn't require a box, it's super easy to wire. It's just got ignition, ground, and power. That's it. That's a good find. Distributor handled. As I continue my quest to avoid getting headers out of the loft, I'm gonna install the water pump with hardware from the Magic Allen bolt bag. Bet you didn't see that one coming. This Mazir electric water pump actually was on our Bonneville race car. This pump got me into the 200-mile-an-hour club at 243.015 miles an hour at the Bonneville Salt Flats. And now it's going on this clapped out 350. The time has come. Here we go, up into the loft. I was fully dreading this, but I think I know I have some headers up here. You're gonna watch me plummet to my death is what's gonna happen here. Sandals are the right tool for this job, by the way. You may ask yourself, Freiburger, why are you keeping this rusty disaster of a header? Well, hear all the rust falling out of it? This is in fact my Bonneville race header, same one I set the record at 243 with. As a matter of fact, my buddy Keith Turk was asking me where these are the other day, and I said I didn't know. Now I know. Cool. And with the headers installed, with bolts discovered from the Magic Bolt Box, I might add, unbelievable. Man, I've been waiting for this moment for a long time.
So we have to break the cam in for about 20 minutes, and we're gonna use regular old motor oil with 1 bottle of Lucas Oil Products TB Zinc. This is gonna add a whole bunch of zinc to our motor oil to protect the rocker arms and the lobes of the camshafts during the break-in process. That means that valve cover can go on.
It's like a brand new truck.
Dude, it looks great.
So right now I'm gonna take the exhaust that was on the truck with our mid-length header, take it loose because it's in the way because we have an awesome new long tube header. Fire this baby up.
Like television magic. I'd help you, but I'm holding a camera right now.
No worries.
Oh man, here we go. It didn't work too good. I guess probably because it really wasn't hooked up to anything.
Yeah, it'd probably help.
Ooh.
Look how cute.
Oh, dude, it's coated.
It's nice. I mean, for what it is, it's really nice.
Dude, it's really nice. Look at this, TIG welded.
Yeah. Look how thick the flange is.
Yeah. Does it hang down below the frame?
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Of our airbagged mini truck? That's the question.
Oh, no. Barely touching the frame rail.
After we already smashed the tube, it's still touching.
So if we had a normal truck, we wouldn't have to do this. This truck has been modified, and an extra brace is in the chassis for the airbags, and that's what the header is hitting right now.
If the truck was stock, the header would fit perfect, but mini truck.
That's it. The COVID 350 is as done as it's gonna get. Two 450 carburetors, Wyand tunnel ram, Blueprint 210 heads, 242, 248 solid roller cam, 11-to-1 compression, but only 355 cubic inches. Everybody's been asking, what kind of power does it make? Well, I polled my Engine Masters co-hosts. Independently, I asked Steve Dulcich, Steve Brule, and myself to guess what kind of power it was gonna make. Every one of us picked either 6,500 or 6,600 RPM as the peak power point. Dulcich guessed 475 horsepower, Brule said 485, and I said 490. And we're pretty good at this, so that's probably in the neighborhood. But will it run at all? Well, that's the big question. I gotta run outside and build an engine test stand, hang it on there, and get this thing going either before or concurrently with Dave and Mike making their Toyota run.
Not the first fire up, we're just gonna prime the motor right now. We're getting close to starting it.
You wanna check for fuel leaks?
I don't see any. Crank her over. All right, if you get it started right away, then shut it off. We'll put it on the ground, we'll back it out of the garage, and we'll break the cam in outside. All right, it's gonna run.
Wow.
It fired right up. We got the timing really close. So let's get it on the ground and go outside.
Do the honor.
Fired it up. It's awesome because it just lit right off. Timing's where we need it, but it's popping out of the exhaust, and it sounds like raw fuel exploding in the exhaust. So we're gonna pop the valve cover off and make sure we don't have a loose rocker arm there. These screws on the front carb didn't do anything. The back ones, if you screw them in, the engine slows down. But the popping went away. Yeah, there it goes, right?
Okay, I admit it. I almost forgot about you, the audience, and I didn't shoot the whole process of getting this engine out here on the stand. That's what happens when you leave the host to be the director. They completely flub. But here's the whole backstory. So this thing showed up, and I had said that I was not gonna wire it until the engine showed up. But the problem is, I figured out that the bell housing and starter that I had was from an old truck deal, and the starter was completely dead, and so I had to order the bell housing flywheel and starter, because today is the day when the expectation is that I will fire this thing up live for Mike Finnegan and Dave Newbern. Okay, ready to find out if it cranks? Yes! All right. Getting close. Maybe if I can push it back and then drop it. There we go. And off that side. And off that side. Boom. It's a roller. You know what this means? Time to call Finnegan. Ooh, but wait! There's one more thing. Ta-da! Those are legit. And there you have the COVID 350. Now we're ready to make this thing run.
What do you think?
FL16.
You look 16, riding around in the mini truck. So this is our first test drive. We have completely rebuilt the top end of this engine with performance in mind. We did not install the clutch and flywheel because, well, we're out of time. So, same clutch, more power. It runs okay. It's not bad. It's smooth. Yeehaw! Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah, baby. There we go.
Dudes, how'd it go?
We got roadkill.
Really?
Yeah, the parts were great. The stock motor, not so great. Blown head gasket, head bolts that didn't want to come out. It was a mess. And ultimately, we did rebuild the top end of our motor before you did the top end of your motor, and we went out and did a burnout in it. And then immediately after the burnout, which ripped, by the way, it started misfiring and running poorly. And so, although it runs, it's unhappy.
I see. Okay, well, you had twice as many people and half as many cylinder heads, so I don't feel that bad. You ready to see what I made happen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you saw this engine when I first put it together, and it was nothing like this.
Oh, hey now.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, that was a short block when we saw it.
It had a single 4-barrel back then. It did not have tunnel ram, velocity stacks, Moroso valve covers, all the swanky stuff.
Wow. He tricked us. Dude, I like it a lot. I do. You want to see ours?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Of course, what I'm thinking is we need to put this engine in your truck. It'll probably be a lot better.
Yes. The tunnel ram would look great through the hood of this. So there it is. Side draft carburetors. Wire harness sitting on the tire. You don't get that anywhere else. That was the wire harness sitting on the tire.
I see that.
Because mini truck. It might start. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
How'd you like them 4 cylinders of fury?
All right, and it does burnouts?
Oh, it does wicked burnouts now.
Oh, I'll have to wait for the episode to see that, I guess.
Yeah, the one-wheel appeal is on point, my friend.
All right.
You'd love it.
Ready to see it run?
Kind of nice. Yes, you have redeemed yourself. So whenever you're ready, just go ahead. Fire it, please.
Here we go. Squirting gas.
Sounds like he's drowning a cat. I've never seen someone so happy to drown a cat before. I bet it was awesome. The internet audio was really bad.
I can tell.
Really bad. Yeah, I can tell it.
Yeah, internet audio is probably terrible, but it runs good. I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, dude, I like it a lot.
So we were both completely victorious in different ways. It just took me much longer.
So I'm not gonna lie, I was really disappointed when I seen the single 4-barrel on there. I was like, all those cool intakes and stuff he has, I was like, come on, you can do better than that. That makes me happy right there.
I figured.
So whenever you're ready, just ship that thing on over to Georgia, and we'll find a home for it.
All right. Later.
Later.
And there it goes, the second episode of Roadkill produced during the pandemic, and the first one that was shot and recorded by the hosts themselves. You may have noticed that I mentioned I would give my engine to Finnegan for his mini truck, and as much as I would like to save him from himself and those one-wheel peels with 4-banger power, I do have plans for the COVID 350. You'll see it on Engine Masters, and we will probably be installing it in my 56 Chevy in an episode of Roadkill Garage. As for the Toyota, well, I'm pretty sure Finnegan can do better once we finally get back to blasting the streets, the highways, and the junkyards on future episodes of Roadkill.
So we're getting, oh, hold on. We gotta clap.
We gotta clap.
Ready? Okay.
Do we both have to clap or just you?
I don't know. The camera's going crazy.
Hear my cat yelling outside? Stupid cat.
All right, removing the timing cover, day 2.
So all I really need to do here is clean it up, including getting the dead roaches out of it.